message of the dangers of drunk and drugged driving.
When you see news happening, call the WSGW newsroom at 752-0790. It's 9:10. I'm Mike Percha.
Here's your WSGW weatherology forecast. Partly sunny for today. Highs will top out near 82 degrees. Winds south-southeasterly 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tonight, partly cloudy to mostly clear. Lows drop to 57. Winds variable 5 to 10. Thursday, an abundance of sunshine. Highs warm into the lower 80s. Winds south 5 to 15. Thursday night, mostly clear. Lows fall back to 58. Winds south-southeast 5 to 10. And then Friday, lots more sunshine and highs will head right back into the lower 80s. This is meteorologist Phil Jensko with the WSGW weatherology forecast.
Right now it's 71.
Now, the only local radio talk show offering you the chance to ask your questions and express your opinions. From around your block to around the world, the Art Lewis Show is on 100.5 and 790 WSGW and online, WSGW.com.
And with that, we welcome you in to the Art Lewis Show. Good morning. Welcome aboard on this gorgeous, summer has quickly arrived on this gorgeous Wednesday morning. I am Bill Hobson sitting in for Art. It has been a while since I've been here in the captain's chair. This is fun. I think it might be, I have to check my records, or maybe you're keeping score at home to check my records. This might very well be the first time I have filled in for Art in the calendar year of 2022. I might be off by a day or two, but as I told Charlie a few minutes ago, I think this is my first fill-in assignment as a grandfather. So if I sound a little bit older and if I sound like, everything hurts more, that's why. I'm blaming it on the kid. We have been blessed with a beautiful young grandson, and many of you listening can relate to the joy and the blessing that comes with that. And I'll probably find ways to work him into the conversation far too often, but you know what? That's tough. That's part of the fun. I understand that's part of the fun of being a grandparent. Great to have you all with us listening on WSGW today. I want to remind you right off the bat that as you see fit, as you have comments and questions and thoughts, you can call in at 989-752-6111. And we'd love to have you connect with us if you want to watch how this show unfolds. I'm looking at myself on a webcam right now, and now that I think about it, it's really not all it's cracked up to be, because it's still just this face for radio coming to you on a web stream through the WSGW social media accounts, probably Facebook being the most commonly viewed channel for all of that. So as we start things off in this hour, I have to ask a question of our guest. First, let me welcome her in. Jordan Brown is with the Girl Scouts Heart of Michigan. And let me say good morning, Jordan. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Let's see. We're going to get your audio so that everybody can hear it. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Please stand by.
No.
We can see you.
Okay.
We can't quite hear you. And we have this important conversation coming all about cookies. So I don't know if it's on your end or ours, because as the sub host, there's buttons everywhere. So I will say this though, before we get Jordan's audio patched into the board here, I can't believe I'm not currently surrounded by Thin Mints. If we're going to have this conversation about Girl Scout cookies, I feel like there needs to be some level of visual demonstration here, and probably the sound of me eating on the air. So, Jordan, don't panic. We've got teams of experts crashing into the studio to try to make this all come together. And let's see if we can hear you now.
Is that better? Can you hear me now?
So far, we're off to a flying start here on the Art Lewis Show. We may have to connect with Jordan over the phone. We'll see how that goes. In the meantime, let me give you all a little bit of a kind of a teaser of what else we'll talk about in this hour as we work to get Jordan connected in for our conversation, and we'll make that all work. I think it's really just a function of not having the cookies nearby. After we're concluding our conversation about what the unique Hometown Heroes program is that the Girl Scouts are helping to be a part of. We will turn our attention a little later in this hour to our lovely and talented Detroit Tigers. I don't know what we're supposed to do about a team that can't score runs. I don't know if you're all aware of this. I do a lot of business, and a lot of my time is spent in the world of golf, where having the lowest possible score is a very good thing. It will make you a lot of money. You'll become legendary, as a matter of fact. Lowest possible score. Does not apply to any other sport. Doesn't work so well for baseball. Certainly doesn't work well for football, basketball, all those things. So we've got to figure out a way to get our Tigers some runs. And a bit later in this hour, Charlie Rude's going to join me in the studio and talk about what's happening with this team, because they are exceedingly frustrating, to say the very least. And we've got to find some ways to fix things up for our Motor City Kitties as they continue to drive us absolutely crazy. So we're going to bring our attention back here. I think we're connected over the phone with Jordan Brown. We're going to do it the old-fashioned way, Jordan. We're going to get you on the Alexander Graham Bell invention. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Well, I'm doing just fine. Sorry for the kind of a rough start to our conversation, but I'm glad that we were able to connect. So let's get right to the important question right now. For your love of Thin Mints, are they in the freezer or not?
Oh, they have to be in the freezer.
Thank you.
Best way to eat them.
Thank you. Now we can continue this conversation because we share some common ground. That's what has to happen for the Thin Mints. The Girl Scouts Heart of Michigan, a program called Hometown Heroes. Would you mind filling in the blanks? What does that mean?
Yeah, so every year we have our Hometown Heroes program, which is where people can donate boxes of cookies to our council, and then we go and donate them to local hometown heroes in our community. So whether that be frontline workers, hospital workers, or military members abroad, or as girls come in and find new programs, we'll also donate them there as well. So it's just a great way for the girls to get back.
Yeah, it says that in the past you've donated cookies to local hospitals and frontline workers. So is it literally just like the delivery of cases and cases into these various venues?
Yep. Yes, yes, it is, which is very exciting every time they come in, just load of Girl Scout cookies, enough for everyone.
Okay, so I've got some cookie questions for you. And before we get into those, though, let's talk about how that Hometown Heroes program plays out here in the Great Lakes Bay region. Are there VA? Are you going to the VA hospital? Are you going to particular rehab facilities? How do you actually get the cookies into the hands of our first responders and our military heroes?
Yeah, so there's actually two ways. So if people donate directly to a Girl Scout, the Girl Scout chooses where she wants to donate them to. So it's up to her and her troop to then they'll bring them into wherever they choose themselves to be able to give them, just the extra smile. And if people donate based on our website, then our council delegates them. I believe last year we donated most of them to the Covenant Hospital. And then we also have, it's called Aaron's Gifts from Home. So it goes over to military members abroad for people who are from the Great Lakes region.
That's got to be such an encouraging moment, not just for the recipient, but I would think for the deliverer, whether it's actually a Girl Scout or somebody else, a parent that's coming along, because you have a chance to say thank you and deliver something, right?
Oh, of course. It's also a great way, it's the girls delivering themselves for her to meet heroes in her area, get inspired, learn more about the community. It's just awesome learning experience for her.
Very good idea. And are we in a season that has a start and end date when you talk about the Girl Scout cookie campaign? Like, when does it wrap up and when did it start?
Yeah, so Hometown Heroes is available anytime cookies are being sold. So in the Great Lakes region, cookies are sold from November until mid-June. So anytime in there, people can buy cookies and also donate them as well for the Hometown Heroes program. Okay,
we've already determined that the best way to eat Thin Mints is frozen version. What's the best seller, though, on the list?
Oh, number one is by far Thin Mints.
Oh, okay, so it's not even close. I have good taste. I finally have verification of good taste. Where are we moving down the list? Like, where's number two? There's a peanut butter version, the name I can't remember. That's got to be close.
Yeah, so our top three are Thin Mints, the Tag-Alongs, which are the peanut butter and chocolate covered, and then the Samoas, which is like the coconut sprinkle.
Yeah, I can't do the coconuts, so that's out. That's off my personal list, but the others sound pretty good. And all told, in the Heart of Michigan chapter, the Girl Scouts, how many boxes do we consume in this Great Lakes Bay region of gluttons?
That is hard to answer. We get that information, I don't know, maybe in like October, but I can tell you a lot. Everyone loves their Girl Scout cookies.
That's very true. So in the end, the funds that are raised from the sale of these cookies, how do they help the girls locally?
Yeah, so every time you buy a cookie from a troop, the money goes directly to that troop, and they can decide how they want to use it. Whether that be another camping trip next year, maybe new uniforms if the girls need them, or maybe an extra adventure or another program. It's up to the girls and the troop leader to decide what they need that year.
There was a little bit of conversation, and I don't know if controversy is the right word, but a couple of years ago when there was discussion about some of the funds being used for political reasons, is that a thing? Was that accurate? Was it fake news? Because, these days it's kind of hard to sort through things.
Yeah, no, that's definitely not accurate. So the girls can choose what they want to do with it, but again, it always goes back just to what the troops want to do and how the troops can use it to better their Girl Scout career, I guess. So it's mainly used for camping as well as uniforms and just other things to help them, just get through the year financially as well, so that it's less burden on the girls and their parents.
Okay. So our local audience can, if they don't have a personal connection to a Girl Scout, where's the best place to go and get some cookies?
Yeah, so if you go to our website at gshom.org, click on cookies, and then if you put in your zip code, it tells you where the closest cookie booth is to you.
Very good. Well, I have no doubt that there will be some listeners who are thinking, hey, those Thin Mints sound kind of good right now. So you may very well hear from some folks, and thanks for letting us in on what Hometown Heroes is all about.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, good visiting with you. Jordan Davis from the Girl Scouts Heart of Michigan. The Hometown Heroes program gives you a chance to deliver some extra joy and appreciation to some hometown heroes. So hopefully we will see some encouraging deliveries take place. And by the way, feel free to deliver some right here to this studio until about 11:30 today. I know that I know one person in particular who would be very excited with a couple boxes of Thin Mints. So not that I'm supposed to eat them, not that I'm supposed to have them, just saying very excited. We'll take a break. When we come back on the Art Lewis Show, we're going to talk about those Detroit Tigers. We're going to try to do it with kindness, compassion, insight, and no bad words, because many of you have been shouting bad words at your radio after the series of like crazy 3-2 losses. It seems like that's the only score the Tigers are allowed to put up, except for that little anomaly yesterday when they won the first game of a doubleheader. So we'll talk a little baseball when we come back here on WSGW.
I'm the first nurse in my family. I started at Wellspring as a certified nursing assistant, and then I went on to nursing. And as I was in my nursing classes, Wellspring, they helped in any type of way, even with the nurses that were in the facility. They assisted with knowledge and passing things down that sometimes you don't learn in the classroom. It's been a great experience at Wellspring. I'm proud of being a nurse.
Join our team today. Visit wellspringlutheran.com.
Hey guys, there is some important news that all men should take very seriously. Your prostate health. Are you urinating more frequently? Are you waking up at night to urinate? Are you sick and tired of prostate pills that just don't work? Sound familiar? If you are one of the millions of men with prostate problems that are driving you nuts, there is some great news. Prostagenics is the all-natural product that beat over 157 other prostate supplements in lab tests and was rated the #1 most powerful prostate supplement in the world. #1, because it works. So why not try some Prostagenics, and your prostate troubles will be a thing of the past. You'll get a great night's sleep and stop waking up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom. To get your free bottle of Prostagenics, call now, 800-600-2020. That's 1-800-600-2020. Take advantage of our 90-day money-back guarantee. Call 800-600-2020. Do it now.
What's for dinner? Burgers?
After last week, no thanks.
Avoiding foods due to fear of diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools? It may not be just stomach issues. It could be EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency. EPI can cause uncomfortable symptoms because it's a condition where the pancreas doesn't release enough digestive enzymes to break down food. But EPI can be managed. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor about your symptoms. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
I'm Elizabeth McDonald, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Inflation moderated only slightly in the year ending in April and not as much as forecast. The Consumer Price Index rose 0.3% in 1 month, up 8.3% for the year ending in April. Excluding food and energy, the core Consumer Price Index rose 0.6% from March to April, up 6.2% in the year ending in April. Among the higher prices contributing to inflation last month, shelter, which is housing, food, airfares, and new vehicles. Wendy's shares are losing ground after a disappointing quarter. Its earnings were down from a year ago. Walt Disney reports earnings after the Wall Street closed today. Investors will be watching for how many subscribers were added to its Disney Plus streaming service. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Ginny Cosola, invested in you.
Economists are warning that sanctions against Russia could trigger devastating inflation, worse than the current 40-year highs. Hi, this is Stephen K. Bannon, and I urge you to protect your savings right now with a gold IRA through Birch Gold, the only company I trust for gold. Just text the word SHELTER to 989898 to get a free info kit on how to protect your savings with gold. Again, text SHELTER to 989898.
Struggling with CPAP? Now there's Inspire, the only FDA-approved obstructive sleep apnea treatment that works inside the body to treat the root cause of sleep apnea with just the click of a button. No mask, no hose, just sleep. Visit InspireSleep.com to learn more.
Do you know what people see when they Google you? Search engines don't always get it right. And when they're wrong, it's your reputation on the line. So what do you do when you don't agree with your search results? Call Reputation Defender at 800-401-6681. Reputation Defender is one of the most trusted names in online reputation repair. We have over a decade of experience in fixing people's search results, and we can help you too. Using cutting-edge approaches, Reputation Defender pushes unflattering information down to lower pages of your search results, where few people ever look. We also promote the good stuff so that it rises to the top, letting you put your best foot forward. Your good name is too valuable to leave to the whims of a Google algorithm. You owe it to yourself to take control with Reputation Defender. Visit www.reputationdefender.com or call 800-401-6681 for free advice on your situation. That's 800-401-6681.
Shot. Sliding backhand is stopped by Baez. Outfield grass. Throws. Got him. Javi Baez. Man, oh man, he's been putting on a show for the last week.
The Tigers play 6:50 tonight on 790 News Radio WSGW.
Welcome back into the Art Lewis Show. Bill Hobson sitting in for Art Lewis. And you heard the voice of Dan Dickerson there with a little highlight from a recent game. It's not been easy to locate a lot of highlights for our Detroit Tigers. So I thought we'd take a couple moments and talk baseball, because whether or not you're a huge sports fan, you probably are a Tiger fan, or at least a baseball fan. WSGW, of course, has been the home of the Tigers, Charlie Rood, for 700 years.
About that. This is the 55th consecutive year.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I don't think is there another affiliate?
You know, we've talked about doing that research, and I never have, but I think it's about time we start asking that question.
I mean, of course, the flagship was WJR for all of my youth, but then that changed, so they can't. Their streak is over.
That's true.
And maybe, who knows? Maybe there's somebody tucked in a small part of the state with an audience of 3. But I would think SGW is a pretty solid bet for the longest running affiliate. And so I don't know if that also means longest suffering affiliate.
At times.
At this time, it does. 84 was a long time ago.
Yeah. There are some spectacular times in the 2006s to the mid-teens. But
yeah. Still trying to figure out how we did not get a World Series out of that run, and I'm guessing a lot of people are. So a little bit of background. I don't think Charlie probably talks about this very much, but you're a baseball coach.
The Valley Lutheran JV baseball team is my
next stop,
coaching home.
Comerica Park.
I'm not sure I'd want to deal with that.
A certain level of patience required at the JV high school baseball level, because you're still in many ways teaching fundamentals, right?
Very much so. I enjoy doing that.
And what was yesterday like in your world?
Yesterday, we were fortunate to play a game at Dow Diamond. Dow Diamond makes its facility available when the Loons are on the road during the school season, and a number of teams get a chance to play.
It's kind of a cool feeling, right?
It really is. Just to step out onto what is, first of all, obviously, it's a professional minor league baseball stadium, but for fans in this area, knowing that Dow Diamond is one of the premier. In fact, it gets awards. It's listed. I want to say it's listed as like the best in the high affiliation.
Yeah,
it's just amazing.
And so for the kids to come out the clubhouse tunnel, out into the dugout, step onto a manicured field, and a scoreboard, I'm assuming, is an operation. And all
Scoreboard's
that.
an operation. They're doing the player announcements when they come to the plate. Got to even go underneath the stands to use the batting cages before the game.
Pretty nice. Yeah, the underbelly of that place is pretty cool.
The whole experience.
And so, how did the team perform?
And our team, which admittedly is young, and we have a team of just a few players. Valley is a small school, so we put together what we can. Played the game of their lives yesterday.
Nice.
The whole season's been a challenge, but everything came together. The pitching, the hitting, the defense. In one game, it all came together. And to come together on Dow Diamond, it was a special game. It was a special moment.
Now, as you get back to practice, whenever today or whenever you go back, you're like, all right, guys, remember what you did? Do that again.
That's my coaching right there. Play like you did at Dow Diamond. It'll be a lifelong memory, though.
Well, I'm guessing in some ways, AJ Hinch yesterday afternoon may have said to his team, hey, guys, remember what you just did? Because in the first game of the doubleheader, the Tigers were involved in a shutout, and this time they weren't the ones with the goose egg.
Yeah, breaking that 6-game losing streak. What a 27-inning shutout streak. That's how it's been so offensively frustrating.
Okay, so let me break down some stats for our Tigers. And by the way, those of you who are Tiger fans in the audience, if you want to chime in on any of this conversation, your calls are welcome here at WSGW at 989-752-6111. So the Tigers are in the American League Central Division, where the current leader is 18-12 on the season. That would be the Minnesota Twins. The Minnesota Twins on the season, and I know this statistic isn't the tell-all barometer for a team's success, but it gives you a little bit of something. The run differential statistic, which basically means for the entire season, are you plus or minus whatever your opponents have scored? And you'd kind of like to be in the green here, not the red. Green's good. Green means go. Red means stop. So the Twins, for instance, are plus 20 runs. In the East, the Yankees are plus 50, and they are 21-8. In the AL West, the LA Angels are plus 47. Those are each the division leaders in the Central, the East, and the West. All right, so you got your plus. Like, I don't know, what's the Valley JV plus minus in run differential, roughly?
I couldn't tell you, but
is it red?
I can tell you we are red. Yes,
okay.
I know we're red.
Well, you're not alone.
We were green for one day yesterday, but over the season we're red.
Your Detroit Tigers are currently, their run differential on the season is, what do you got, Charlie?
Oh my gosh. Well, it's got to be red. I know it's red.
It is red. It is stoplight, fire engine.
And it's been scoring few runs. They've given up a lot. 50.
Well, now the Kansas City Royals are red at minus 46, but as I said, this is not the best barometer because they're actually ahead of the Tigers in the standings because they played 3 fewer games. The Tigers' run differential right now is an American League second worst at minus 31.
Ooh.
And they've lost so many games 3-2. It seems like that's the blueprint or the copy paste that they just put into the spreadsheet. Taking, I don't know, putting their pitchers in a very difficult position. You've got to be able to score some runs. So as you listen to or watch this team from a baseball mindset, what comes to mind?
Well, you just mentioned, it seems that our pitching has been doing a pretty good job. Starters and relievers both. I mean, for a while, and I don't know if it's still true, the Tigers have the best bullpen ERA.
Yeah, the closer's got some issues, but getting up to that point is all right.
But I mean, and you think about how unfortunate that, I mean, Matt Manning and Casey Mize, two guys that we figured were going to be key.
Yeah.
They've both gone out with injuries already.
Yeah.
Michael Pineda has had some decent starts. Well, Alex Fierros came on and did a couple of decent starts, and he's only had 2 starts in his major league career. Eduardo Rodriguez started a little rough, but the last couple of games he's been okay. I mean, the pitching seems to be okay. It just seems it comes down. We're not scoring enough runs for our pitchers. The offense is just not there.
Over the years, we've seen different tactics taken to addressing a hitting slump for an entire team. And quite often the tactic that's taken is a pink slip given to the hitting coach. I don't really know if that's fair. It's highly unlikely that the hitting coach is telling his batters, hey, go up there and do not hit. Right? I mean, I have no doubt that they are employing every bit of knowledge that they have through pregame batting practice and film study and back in the batting cages and all. As it turns out, chasing horrible pitches, can it spread through a team? Is it one of those things that can be contagious?
I'm a firm believer of that. I mean, when other guys start hitting around you, well, first of all, the opposing pitcher now has to be concerned because he can't get concentrated on 1 or 2 batters because everyone's swinging the bat well. So what do? There's nobody to pitch around. And there's that confidence factor. You know, 1 guy's doing it. I can do that. 2 guys do it. We can do that. I think for a couple of guys, Jonathan Scope, for example, I like Jonathan Scope, but was last year his peak? I mean, he started out slow last year.
Yeah.
But came on strong. Jamie Candelaria did the same thing. He started out, although he's coming along. He's starting to pick things up.
And it does appear that Javi Baez was a very good acquisition.
Oh, boy, if anything, certainly defensively, he's been everything that he's been cracked up to be. We knew it. I still think he'll have a better bat too. I mean, it's crazy to think that up and down the order, we're asking everybody. Austin Meadows has been off to a decent start. And of all, Miguel Cabrera. He's been one of the best.
He's basically good for 2 hits a game, maybe 3, and yet somehow it's not translating into runs.
Yeah.
So if you're the manager and you're in the dugout or in the clubhouse and your pitchers have once again gone out and put up a 2-run game, you wonder how long before there becomes this us versus them mindset amongst the team, because your livelihood, your next contract depends on your 1-loss record, your ERA as a pitcher, and all of those measurables that they usually bring into contract conversations. You could go in and say, listen, I was for the season, I was 6-13. And in my 13 losses, my team scored an average of 1.6 runs for me. I don't know how you draw the line at assessing the blame, but if you're only giving up 3 runs a game, you should be a little better than the current 9-21 record.
Oh, no question. You giving up 3 runs a game, I'd take that every game,
right?
And figure that I'm going to have a pretty good record. Tigers have already started to sending Akil Baddoo down. He's off to a horrible start. Of course, this is just his sophomore year, but it's like, look, we're Spencer Torkelson. I think they're going to hang with it because they're going to say, look, here's where you're going to learn how to do it.
He's going to learn the hard way.
He's going to learn the hard way. But I think they're going to say, look, we understand it. This is your rookie year, and we'll give you chances. Now, you talk about stats. There are so many different types of baseball stats and analysis done these days. Boggles my brain. I don't pay attention to half of them.
Yeah.
But somebody did a statistical analysis of Spencer Torkelson, the pitches he's taking, his pitches that he's choosing to swing at that are in the strike zone. By all indications are he's doing everything he should. He's just not barreling up the ball. He's not hitting it, but he is showing the maturity that you'd hope to see developing in a rookie.
Yeah, very true.
Now, it needs to translate, but that's just some of the kind of the oddities that you'll discover when people start getting in depth about what's happening with the hitting and just how much you can analyze it.
Yeah. Let's jump to a break. We'll come back and talk some more baseball. Take your calls as we try to fix our Detroit Tigers after this on the Art Lewis Show.
Wool Files in Saginaw is looking for an experienced parts counter person. You must be prompt, dependable, and knowledgeable in lawn and garden equipment. Qualified candidates can make good wages and receive an excellent benefit package at a clean, well-respected local business. For an opportunity to fill this rewarding position at one of the area's oldest, highly respected repair shops, bring a resume and apply in person to Dave at 5818 State Street, Saginaw, between the hours of 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. This is a full-time position and starts now. Wool Files, Ace Hardware, 5818 State Street, Saginaw. Wool Files is an equal opportunity employer.
Annette Glenn was a high school sprinter and state champion. Now Annette Glenn's running for state senate, championing fairness, ensuring girls compete against girls, protecting girls' sports, and girls' privacy in the locker room. Paid for by Annette Glenn for state senate.
Steve Martin and Martin Short. You won't believe what they look like today. Live May 27th at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
When Marty and I fly together, we save a lot of money because Marty fits conveniently in the overhead bin.
Tickets start at $62 and on sale now at the box offices or online at etix.com.
You look like Anderson Cooper froze to death on New Year's Eve.
Party and play with your two favorite amigos, Steve Martin and Martin Short. Friday, May 27th at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Details at SoaringEagleCasino.com.
There's nothing like hearing the songs you love on local radio with no subscriptions and no monthly fees. But there's a new bill in Congress that could stop the music. If passed, this bill would tax your local radio station simply to play the music you love. Text LOCAL to 52886 and ask Congress to support local radio stations. Help us keep you connected to the music, local news, weather, and traffic that you need each day. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
There's a price war in the insurance business, and you may be paying too much. Call the Term Lifeline right now and see if you can save 40%. $500,000 plans and up, that's our specialty. Even great smokers rates. Protect your family today. Call the Term Lifeline right now for a free quote. 866-549-TERM. 866-549-TERM. 866-549-TERM.
Why do I love to work at Alpha Media Saginaw?
Awesome station, fun work environment,
my work family, endless opportunities, because it doesn't feel like work.
Hi, I'm Carrie Gustafson, General Sales Manager at Alpha Media Saginaw.
We are expanding our marketing department and looking for the right team player to continue to help local businesses grow through on-air and digital campaigns. We have an amazing staff and 5 awesome local radio stations. So if you want to get up every day loving what you do,
apply now at alphamediausa.com/careers. Alpha Media is an EEO employer.
You could unlock more cash than you realize from your home's equity with a cash-out refinance today. In the last year, average home values have gone up nearly 20%. And with Rocket Mortgage, you could unlock thousands in less than 3 weeks. But you've got to act right now before rates go up. So when you're looking to unlock the cash in your home, Rocket can. Call 8338-ROCKET today or go to rocketmortgage.com to get started. Rocket. Rates current as of 12/12/21. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender license in all 50 states. And MLS Consumer Access.org. Number 3030. Call 800-490-1233 for disclosures and cost information.
The WSGW Broadcasting Studios are sponsored by the Premier Kitchen and Bath Gallery Showroom and Design Center in Midland.
Having some fun talking baseball this hour on the Art Lewis Show. Bill Hobson here in for Art. Welcome back in. Charlie Rood, whom you know quite well, is my baseball insider for this hour. So welcome inside. By the way, Charlie, we told everybody earlier that the Tigers' run differential for the season is -31. That in the American League, only the Royals are worse at -46. Do you have any idea who the worst in the majors would be? Because it's neither of the teams I just mentioned.
I'm going to guess Cincinnati.
They are so bad.
Yeah.
The record is 6-24, and their run differential is -75.
Holy cow.
Yes, that's probably what's being said in the dugout quite often, if not something stronger.
I'm sure. Wow.
I was telling Charlie during the break that one of my great hopes for the Tigers this season was the calling up of a young man named Ryan Kreidler, who's at their Toledo AAA affiliate. And Ryan and I got to be good friends. We played together in a golf outing down in Lakeland, Florida during spring training. The Tigers have an annual golf outing the day before their spring training season begins. And with the lockout and all that, things were a little jumbled, but couldn't have been a nicer guy. I do a podcast called Church Pew Sports, where pastors talk sports and life, and Ryan was kind enough to come on and do that show with us. And so we couldn't have been more excited. And one of the young men who co-hosted that episode with us, that episode of Church Pew Sports, convinced Ryan that when he gets called up to Comerica Park, that this young man named Sean should be allowed to pick out his walk-up music based on Kreidler's Spotify list. So this sentence contains a number of phrases that I don't even understand, right? I'm going to pick up your walk-up music according to your Spotify list. And I'm like, I don't know what you're saying. But Kreidler gave him permission. So we were waiting for that moment when the big call came. And then injury, right?
Yeah.
So he got hit in the hand with a pitch that broke his hand.
Unfortunate.
And in the world of a Detroit sports fan, it kind of seems accurate to say if it can go wrong, it will go wrong. It will go wrong, and things are. So let me ask you this: do you have any reason for hope that this season things will click into gear, and the Tigers will make a bit of a showing that we anticipated them making? You know, that's the difference, Charlie. Last year, we knew it was going to be lousy. Nobody was surprised that was a terrible team. And this year, they came out of Lakeland with great anticipation. The afternoon, because it was during a doubleheader, when Miggy got his 3,000th hit. There was a gathering in the locker room between games. They had some non-alcoholic bubbly. They toasted, and Miggy gave a brief speech. I don't know if you remember it, if you heard it.
I'm trying to remember, refresh my memory.
Well, he was obviously grateful for his teammates, and you've been with me all this time. And then he says, now we need to win because this team can win this division. I know we can do it. Let's go out and do it. It was a rare act of confidence from Miggy because he's not a loud, outspoken clubhouse leader. He speaks through his bat. And so everyone's like, yeah, rah, rah. Since that moment,
oh, no.
I don't know why, but since that moment, things have gone south. So do you have hope for this year's edition of the Tigers?
I always have hope. First of all, I don't even look at the standings until probably...
If you did that, it might put a damper on your hope.
I figured June, because I'd like to think that a lot of things are still playing out in the first couple of months of the season. There's certainly no question your season could be over by that time because of just how far back you are. It's just hard to get those games back. What's going to be hard for the Tigers? The first step is to get back to 500.
Yeah,
that's not going to be any
you're
small
12
feat.
under right now.
But you start to win series. You take 2 or 3. You take 3 or 4. You maybe split 2 or 4. You don't lose series. Eventually, it starts to catch up, and hopefully, with the way that I think the players can play, improved play. Getting some players back from injury, as much as you talked about Ryan Kreidler, remember one of the big injuries. Now, what would he be doing in his rookie season? I don't know, but Riley Green was going to be planted in that
mashing
lineup.
The ball at spring training.
Yes, they've had a couple of others too that there is no reason why this team shouldn't be better than it is, and I think they will be by the end of the season.
So at what point, and I say this gently knowing that you're a manager, at what point do people start to look at the manager who just got here, who's highly regarded, unless you're still remembering the trash can incident in Houston, at what point do you think, hey, does this guy really have the secret sauce?
I think he's still okay for this year. And if it did turn out to be a poor year, I still think that people will say, maybe we just had too much expectation because we still came into this. You think about, again, I mentioned Matt Manning and Casey Mize, even Tarek Skubal.
Yeah.
I mean, these are young pitchers now.
There's some good arms on this team.
They have been. Do they need that in one more year that you think, even though, again, the pitching really hasn't been the problem? Is it just that they're not getting the right personnel to complement the Javi Baez, the Grossmans, the Meadows? I mean, I love those pickups. I love the Meadows pickup. I thought, wow, this is really going to be key, especially when Green went down.
I don't know what to make of Al Avila as a general manager, as an assessor of personnel. I really don't. I'm not smart enough. I'm not as invested enough into baseball because he's had a number of hits and he's clearly had a number of swings and misses. So now you face this temptation. We've got some good young arms. Do I need to peddle a couple of them to other teams for some bats when I already thought I had the bats?
Yeah.
The talk coming out of spring training, Charlie, was, I don't know where you're going to get an out on this lineup. I do.
Yeah. It was the young pitching that you thought was going to be the question mark, because the young arms, you wondered, were they ready to do it day in and day out more than they had to from the previous years?
Baseball's a confounding game. You know, people always tell me golf's confusing to them and difficult. Baseball's confounding because there are so many moving parts. And if they're not moving in the right direction, you're 9-21, and you're you're giving up 31 more runs than you're scoring.
Just a few wins. It's like any sport. It's like life. You need a little confidence. You have to have an idea that you can do what you set out to do, a belief in yourself, an expectation. I think right now the expectations are, they go into the game wondering, is this the game we're going to get scoring more than 2 runs? Is this the game we're going to get more than 5 hits? And when it doesn't happen, they're thinking, oh, here we go again.
You'll be shocked to hear this, but while the first game of yesterday's doubleheader was taking place, I was on the golf course. I was over in Benton Harbor at Harbor Shores for a media day for the Senior PGA Championship coming there. And the young man that was riding in my cart with me works for a newspaper in South Bend, Indiana, but he's from Michigan, so he follows the Tigers just through the MLB app. So that's it. And I remember right where I was on the 7th hole trying to hit a ball out of the bunker, which I did not do very well. And he goes, the Tigers have the bases loaded with nobody out. And I'm not kidding you, Charlie. The first thought that went through my mind was strikeout double play coming. And instead I think they scored 3 from that particular situation. But I don't, maybe I'm just jaded, but that's I'm like, how can they not score out of this position? Here's how. It's going to be a double play that goes catcher to first, and then the next guy up will whiff on 3 balls that are in the dirt. So thankfully I was wrong, thinking maybe it's clicking in, and then shut out in the evening.
Well,
or almost shut out in the evening.
Because that's the way it has been. We mentioned, don't have to go back all that long ago. We can all remember a decade ago, 10, 15 years again, for those spectacular teams we're talking about.
Yeah.
The expectation was, we're behind. How are we going to win this game? That was the expectation. Even if you didn't, you had the expectation that how are we going to come back and win this game, even though we're 3 runs down in the 8th inning? You just thought it was going to happen. And
Very true.
times it did.
Yeah, it was so exciting.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can get back to that. Thanks for spending some time in here. I think I've talked so long, I'm going to be behind on break time, so don't get mad at the guest host when we're running behind. I got to go. More on the Art Lewis Show after this. We talked baseball too long.
Spring is here, and we are ready to help your yard look just as vibrant and colorful as it should. Quality, locally grown products at very competitive prices. That's why so many of you come to Abley Greenhouse and Garden Center. Hi, I'm Matt Bouvet. We sincerely appreciate our customers, and we want you to know that when you plant with us, you get the best plants, expert advice, affordable price, and the safety you would expect from our family-owned business. That's why your mom and dad, or even grandparents, started their spring with us. Prices, shop around, and you'll see our selection is reasonably priced to fit your needs and your budget. Whether you're a beginning gardener or advanced, we know that gardens will be popping up all over this year. We have the healthy, locally grown plants you need to make that garden produce safe and healthy for your dinner table this season. Like us on Facebook and Twitter too. It's that easy. If you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. Plan to plant with us this spring at Abley Greenhouse and Garden Center on Wadsworth near the freeway, Saginaw. See us today. Let us make your outdoors beautiful.
Whether you work in the field or in the corner office, you know information is power. That's why Helena is putting data to work on farms across the country with Extractor. Extractor is an exclusive tissue analysis program used to monitor plant health in season. Using advanced technology, Extractor identifies nutrient deficiencies and offers custom recommendations to keep your crop growing at its best. Make better agronomic decisions this season with Extractor. To learn more, find your local Helena retailer at helenaagra.com.
For a farmer, every day is different, and every season tells its own story. Make this the year you do it your way. Coron Metra is a foliar fertilizer that lets you decide when the time is right for nutrition. Metra gives you flexibility. It gives your tank efficiency. And Metra gives your crop more than just nitrogen. Coron Metra, the next evolution in crop nutrition. Always read and follow label instructions and check registration before use.
Brunches, chef specials, date nights, happy hours. Moments like these are made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine.
My taste buds have missed this.
So let's savor this moment. Keep the dining out going. Keep the togetherness going by keeping your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Find your vaccine at michigan.gov/COVID vaccine. Sponsored by the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services and the Michigan Association of Broadcasters.
5G is here, but the big carriers want you to sign a pricey long-term contract to get access. Well, not anymore, because Straight Talk Wireless has rolled out 5G coverage nationwide with deals like our Silver Unlimited plan for just $45 a month and no contract. And get a Samsung Galaxy A32 5G for $249, all on America's best networks. 5G coverage, 5G phones, less money. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise. 5G capable device required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
Detroit Tigers baseball is on 790 News Radio WSGW. Baez.
Ground ball fair down the first base line. Candelario around third. He will score. Santiago waving Castro to third. He'll hold him there. Javi Baez delivers again.
Tigers baseball brought to you in part by
Steven Cycle,
Woolfiles Ace Hardware in Saginaw,
Schaefer Beer Line, Ram Trucks in Frankenmuth.
Your home for Detroit Tigers baseball is WSGW.
On the next Markley Van Camp and Robbins show,
high-profile Democrat says the Supreme Court doesn't have the right to weigh in on cases. These people are broken.
Markley, Van Camp, and Robbins. Weekdays at noon on 100.5 and 790. News Radio WSGW.
Art Lewis here for Thalen Honda, North Euclid Avenue in Bay City. And as you know, new vehicle supplies are very low. So I suggest you stop into Thalen Honda to secure a new Honda on order while you can. And with gas prices where they are, remember that Honda was ranked first among all full-line automakers in the 2021 EPA report at 29.1 miles per gallon, 3.7 miles per gallon higher than the industry average for the 2020 model year. Plus, the 2022 Honda Civic won the prestigious North American Car of the Year award. And in addition, the Honda Ridgeline was ranked first among the longest-lasting trucks. Visit Thalen Honda on North Euclid Avenue in Bay City today to see what's in the pipeline. Reserve the car of your dreams before it's too late. By the way, if you're looking to move up with a pre-owned vehicle, the Thalen dealerships have one of the largest inventories in the Great Lakes Bay region, all inspected and ready for immediate delivery. Check them out online at thinkthalen.com. The Thalen family's been serving your automotive needs for over 45 years.
Is your current home loan the right fit for you? Rising home values mean that you could have more home equity than you might imagine. And if you're considering a refi, an expertly chosen loan from Loan Depot could save you thousands. Ask about their smart term loans, cash out, and over 300 loan options to find just the right mortgage loan for you. Call now, 866-888-LOAN, or go to loandepot.com. Loan Depot, where home means everything. Rates are subject to change. Equal housing opportunity lender. NMLS number 174457. Licensed in all 50 states.
RocketGrabPlus.com. This week's deal on RocketGrabPlus.com is for the Frankenmuth Aerial Park. You are going to get a 2-hour session at the Frankenmuth Aerial Park for only $21. It's usually $42, but you are getting it half off. This includes a 2-hour weekday or weekend session. And it doesn't matter if you're a beginner or a pro. There is a course level that's going to fit you. Head to RocketGrabPlus.com right now to snag your deal. RocketGrabPlus.com.
Well, thank you to Charlie Rood for joining me talking Tiger baseball. We've got to get this team figured out. And by the way, one of the conversations that I most enjoy having with Detroit sports fans in general, and I'm one of them, it's not like I'm making fun of anybody, is trying to predict which of our Detroit teams will win the next championship. And I can't find a great silver lining that points clearly to any particular one of those teams. I've got so many friends that are just lifelong diehards, just like I am, mostly for the Tigers and the Lions. There's a lot of Red Wings fans. There aren't quite as many diehard Piston fans, at least in my spheres of influence. But if you had to put a wager down, which I, by the way, do not recommend, but if you had to put a wager down on one of the 4 Detroit professional sports franchises on winning the next title in their respective leagues, I really don't know. If you just put a blindfold on and throw a dart at a dartboard, and whatever team it lands on is probably as good a prediction as anything else. That's how similar they all are in, I guess futility might be the the word that you want to use to describe where things seem to be right now. So interesting times, truly the times that test the patience of fans who are asked, of course, to spend money on tickets and merchandise and just watching, supporting, and listening here on WSGW to the Detroit Tigers. So it's a good conversation to have, and hopefully they'll get things turned around. Coming up in the 10 o'clock hour here on the Art Lewis Show, my friend Dan Streeter, the Chief Executive Officer from Rescue Ministries of Mid-Michigan, will join us and catch us all up on what things are looking like in that world these days. But first we go to the newsroom here on WSGW.
From the Premier Kitchen and Bath Gallery Studios, WSGW, Saginaw, Bay City, Midland, WSGW FM, Carlton.
This is CBS News on the Hour, presented by Indeed.com.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. Inflation edged down last month to an annual rate of 8.3% from 8.5% in March. And that's not much consolation for consumers like Josh Nelson in Summerfield, North Carolina.
It's really hitting everything from grocery store to just everyday living.
Bank rates, Greg McBride.
Last month, core prices, which exclude food and energy, had been a reason for hope. But this month, those core prices are a reason for disappointment. They're up over 6% on a year-over-year basis.
AAA says the average price for a gallon of regular gas is $4.40 today, a new record high. Democrats want to put Republicans on record by holding a vote today to codify abortion rights into law. Correspondent Scott McFarland's on Capitol Hill.
Senate Democrats are fighting for a bill already passed in the House that would protect abortion access nationwide. They need 60 votes to pass it, but there's no indication they'll get there.
They hope the possibility of a Supreme Court ruling overturning Roe v. Wade will get more voters to the polls in November. In the West Bank, cries for help after a veteran correspondent was shot in the head and killed. CBS's Imtiaz Tayab at the foreign desk.
She was wearing a helmet and body armor that was clearly marked as press when she was shot. Her employer, Al Jazeera, said the veteran reporter was assassinated in cold blood by Israeli forces.
Israel says it's investigating. The U.S. ambassador says Shireen Abu Akleh was an American citizen. Here in the U.S., lawmakers in the House have approved almost $40 billion in new aid to Ukraine to help build on gains against Russian forces in the east. Today, Ukraine's natural gas pipeline operator stopped shipments of about a third of Russian oil that flows through Ukraine into Western Europe. A passenger turned pilot saved the day in Florida.
A man with no flying experience landed a plane at Palm Beach International Airport after the pilot suffered a medical emergency. An air traffic controller gave the man instructions on how to safely land.
What was the situation with the pilot? He is incoherent. He is out. For 311 Delta, Roger, try to hold the wings level and see if you can start descending for me.
That audio is courtesy of liveatc.net. Jim Crisula, CBS News.
A legendary guitarist is struggling months after he got COVID. Queen's Brian May tells the BBC he suffers daily brownouts.
I just go out like a light. It's really weird.
74-year-old and his wife were infected in December. Dow up 233. This is CBS News.
Find your next great hire with Indeed. Their hiring platform makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire candidates all in the same place. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Consider a move to Wellspring Senior Living Campus in Saginaw.
There's a huge amount of trust that's built in that process of deciding where you're going to move, when you're going to sell your house. It's important when you walk into a place that you look around. Do the residents look happy? Are the staff interacting with them? How were you treated when you walk through the door? This is the next step to your journey. I want to give the right recommendation. I want to lead these people in the right direction. They've trusted me.
Schedule a tour today at wellspringlutheran.com.
Do you know what people see when they Google you? Search engines don't always get it right. And when they're wrong, it's your reputation on the line. So what do you do when you don't agree with your search results? Call Reputation Defender at 800-401-6681. Reputation Defender is one of the most trusted names in online reputation repair. We have over a decade of experience in fixing people's search results And we can help you too. Using cutting-edge approaches, Reputation Defender pushes unflattering information down to lower pages of your search results, where few people ever look. We also promote the good stuff so that it rises to the top, letting you put your best foot forward. Your good name is too valuable to leave to the whims of a Google algorithm. You owe it to yourself to take control with Reputation Defender. Visit www.reputationdefender.com or call 800-401-6681 for free advice on your situation. That's 800-401-6681.
Jose, how much longer till this dough's ready?
No one can bake gluten-free vegan goodies better than Surrey.
Wait, both Jim and Marion's last days are the same day?
But he needs to whip up a new shift lead without interviews burning his time.
Gotta get interviewing before my calendar is cooked. Oh,
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from the Indeed dashboard, so you can stay organized and connected all the way to the hire. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Live from the 100.5 and 790 newsroom, this is WSGW News.
Partly cloudy skies and 67 degrees at 10:05. Good morning, I'm Mike Percha. Police in Clare County are investigating a Monday crash that took the life of an 84-year-old Clare man. The man was driving a red Ford Ranger around 11:30 a.m. on Clare Avenue near Lincoln Road in Hatton Township. He was heading the wrong way, according to police, and crashed head-on into another Ford pickup hauling a livestock trailer driven by a 45-year-old Sterling man. The Clare man died at the scene. The Sterling man was treated at the scene for injuries and released. A cow in the trailer was euthanized due to its injuries. The Clare County Sheriff's Office was assisted by state police, the DNR Law Enforcement Division, Clare City Police Department, Harrison Fire Department, the Clare County Road Commission, and Auto Solutions Towing. A high school student in Flint has no shortage of options in furthering his education. WJRT-TV reports T.K. Thomas has been accepted to 40 colleges and universities around the United States and has also been awarded around $1 million in scholarships. The Southwestern Classical Academy senior plans on attending Morehouse College in Atlanta, Georgia, an all-male, historically black college, to study psychology. The school is also the alma mater of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Thomas says he hopes to return to the Flint area after school to establish a nonprofit organization providing services for disadvantaged youth. The Midland Tapped Craft Beer Festival takes place June 18th in downtown Midland from 6 to 9 p.m. The festival features 2 floors of brewery samples and an open-air beer garden on the top floor of the Larkin parking ramp at 315 East Larkin Street. There will be food vendors, brewery representatives, lounge areas, live music, and more. Pre-sale admission tickets are $25 through May 31st. Starting June 1st, general admission tickets will be $30, while designated driver admission tickets are only $10. Tickets are available at tapped.eventbrite.com. Attendees must be at least 21 years old. WSGW News Time, 10:07.
So what's the most exciting part of playing Millions Cash Payout, the new instant game series from the Michigan Lottery?
It's the cash.
Maybe it's having 4 brand new tickets to play.
No, it's the cash.
Or maybe the tickets are from $2 to $20.
It's the cash.
And they have little stars on them.
I'm telling you, it's the cash.
Of course, with top prizes up to $2 million and over $155 million in total prizes, that part is pretty exciting too.
You think?
Play new Millions Cash Payout.
And put some cash play in your day.
Knowing your limits is always the best bet.
WSGW News Time, 10:08. The weather forecast is coming up. Parents across the United States are scrambling to find baby formula because of supply disruptions and a massive safety recall by manufacturer Abbott. Ongoing supply problems have intensified since Abbott has shuttered its largest U.S. formula plant due to contamination concerns. Pediatricians are urging parents who can't find formula to contact food banks or doctors' offices. They warn against watering down formula to stretch supplies or using online do-it-yourself recipes. Major retail chains, including CVS and Walgreens, are limiting how many containers customers can purchase at one time to conserve supplies. Meanwhile, regulators with the FDA are looking at importing formula to boost U.S. supplies. An alarming report has come out from the CDC regarding firearm homicide rates in 2020 during the pandemic. Dr. Thomas Simon is with the CDC.
Saw the number of firearm homicides increase from 14,392 in 2019 to 19,350 in 2020. That is nearly 5,000 more lives lost to firearm homicide in 1 year. This is nearly a 35% increase in the firearm homicide rate, and as a result of this increase, 2020 had the highest recorded firearm homicide rate in more than 25 years.
Firearm homicide rates increased among males and females in all age groups, with the largest increase seen among Black men and boys ages 10 to 44. Maintenance on one of the Sioux locks has taken longer than expected. The locks in Sault Ste. Marie has two, the larger Poe lock and the smaller MacArthur lock. It's the smaller one that's been delayed in opening up and is now not expected to open until the first week of June. It was originally planned to open mid-April. Some of the components are 80 years old and need repair. One is the powertrain that has fill and empty valve gears that are over 2,000 pounds. There have been issues with getting the right parts. When you see news happening, call the WSGW newsroom at 752-0790. It's 1010. I'm Mike Percha.
Here's your WSGW weatherology forecast. Partial sunshine develops here for today with a high into the mid-80s. Winds out of the southeast around 5 to 10 miles per hour. And then for tonight, partly cloudy skies develop, a low near 58. By Thursday, mostly sunny skies, high of 85 degrees. Then by Friday, sunshine, a high of 84. Saturday, we'll have a chance for some showers and thunderstorms. Partial sunshine develops, a high of 83. Then on Sunday, a chance for rain showers here late, partly sunny, a high of 75. Monday, mostly sunny, high of 71 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki with the WSGW weatherology forecast. Currently, it's 74.
Now, the only local radio talk show offering you the chance to ask your questions and express your opinions. From around your block to around the world, the Art Lewis Show is on 100.5 and 790 WSGW and online, WSGW.com.
It is good to have you with us as we enter into the 10 o'clock hour on this beautiful Wednesday. We went from winter to summer basically overnight a couple nights ago, and there's no complaints. We like the summer version of life, and it's nice and toasty out there. So hopefully, as you're listening, perhaps you're out getting some yard work done, or at least have the top on the convertible down wherever it is you're heading. As in this hour, we catch up with Dan Streeter from the Rescue Ministries of Mid-Michigan. These are busy times. It's kind of funny, Dan. We get to warm weather, which did come on us suddenly, of course. When we get to it, there's the temptation to flip the mental switch for many of us over to, oh, it's warm. Everybody must be happy because it's finally summer. And we still have a lot of need going on in the community and a lot of projects underway. Like the dust is in the air, especially in Saginaw in the world of rescue ministry. So what's happening?
So it's great to be able to be with you today. And definitely, as you were alluding to, the fact that sometimes cold weather is the only thing that makes people think about homelessness. But anybody who has listened to this show, you've heard me say many times, homelessness is an issue that is going on all through the year. What's even more interesting is because of the pandemic, it's really changed some of the patterns here over the last couple of years of what is happening with homelessness. And we were even taking a look at some community numbers with other service providers yesterday. And it really has changed the numbers and how people are being served. But there's also some looming issues on the horizon that we're really concerned about. But like with the pandemic, just prior to the pandemic, we were serving more people than we had ever served in the history of the organization. At City Rescue Mission, about 210 people, and at Good Samaritan, 100 people. So
this is every day.
This was every day, averaging 310 people, which we were basically busting at the seams. And it was something immediately as the pandemic hit, then we started to see those numbers kind of filter down. And for some various reasons, people were concerned about the pandemic and not knowing what a shelter setting would be like. And so somehow maybe they found a way to extend a stay with family or friends. And then you started to see within about 60 days the lack of the eviction diversion started to happen, where people couldn't be evicted, and that ban was put on. So that kept some people who would have become homeless, kept them in their homes for a shorter period of time. And then there was also funding to keep people housed, to keep them from getting evicted. And that has still been happening over these 2 years. And in fact, in Saginaw County, about $12 million came in just to keep people who were at risk of losing their home or being evicted from an apartment, to keep them from being so. So that's kind of propped the numbers here. But I still believe, and evidence would show, that there are hundreds and thousands of people in this region that are right on the verge of becoming homelessness, and they're living right on the edge of poverty. And it just takes a couple situations to create that crisis in their lives.
Yeah, you and I were talking off the air about just the housing crunch in general. It doesn't matter what your economic level is, unless, of course, you're very well off, and then you'll find someplace. But for those that are kind of scrambling and struggling a little bit, and maybe living paycheck to paycheck, the idea of finding housing, it's not your dream. I'm not talking about your dream house. I'm not talking about the fountains and the Circle Drive. I'm just talking about someplace to live. As we sit here right now in this age of inflation and kind of economic upheaval, those folks don't have many options at all, even if they have good intentions and have their act together, so to speak.
Correct. We have really a national issue on affordable housing, or I should say on a lack of affordable housing. And so, even here in Saginaw County, it's very easy for rent to be somewhere around $1,000 a month for an average apartment, for, like a 2-bedroom home. And so that makes it extremely difficult for people to afford. State of Michigan right now is averaging somewhere a little over 60,000 people that are homeless annually. And so it'll range somewhere 62, 63,000. Stats are showing that 60% of those individuals, the housing stock of affordable housing, 60% of those individuals will not be able to get housed, because there's that much of a lack of affordable housing all across the state. And this region is a direct mirror of that as well.
Okay, so that means, in my deductive reasoning, which sometimes is accurate, sometimes isn't, in my deductive reasoning, I think that means that you're going to be seeing, if you're not already, more and more intact families coming to the mission and saying, we can't afford rent. We can't figure out where to go. Can we stay here? And how are you addressing that need?
So it's more than just intact families. It's all people, because families or singles aren't able to afford the rent. So we are seeing people coming. What it's doing, we are seeing right now, because of some of the financial support still active for the eviction diversion, we're still seeing that the homeless numbers are staying lower than what they have been. For example, last night between Good Samaritan and the City Rescue Mission, we had 180 people that stayed with us. So pre-pandemic, that had inflated up to 310. But what we're seeing is that our daily average occupancy is going longer. They're staying with us for a longer period of time, because there's not as many places to be able to place individuals, to be able to help get them into housing that can be sustained. And that's part of our goal, is to help provide the life skills and the training to turn things around, so that you don't have to repeat homelessness. Our goal is permanent, sustainable housing. And so now you're going out and trying to find that place that you can afford, and there's very few of them out there.
Yeah, and it's a scary time for a family, and it's a changing face of homelessness. So I want to kind of back out a little bit and remind everybody that quite likely, whatever the mental image you have of homelessness in your mind is probably not where it actually exists right now. I think it looks different than you're thinking. Certainly, there is still the struggle with addiction, with decision making, with what I guess what we would call self-inflicted injury. That
Correct.
still exists
Right.
on a large scale. That's especially in this world of opioids and all of the other mess that's everywhere in this country. But there's also this new chapter, which is economic pressure that nobody planned on. And I don't think you could automatically just ascribe it to terrible decision making. Is that fair?
It's extremely fair. So you, like I said, you have so many people that are living right on the edge. So let's take the case of a single individual. They could potentially qualify for a housing choice voucher. Basically, it's housing assistance potentially for their lifetime. And so they'll get an assistance that's maybe somewhere around $670 to $700. But to be able to find an apartment for $670 to $700 is extremely difficult, and finding a livable accommodation, what we would all agree is a livable accommodation. And there's a whole lot of substandard. You've got landlords that are maybe skating by and avoiding code enforcement and doing everything they can just to keep their doors open
Just
and collect a check.
terribly unsafe settings, especially if you have kids.
Yes. And so now you have that void, and sometimes an additional job and additional revenue can't always solve it, because then if you go out and get too high paying of a job, then you lose the financial assistance or part of the financial assistance.
So you're on the threshold and you're willing to work, but if you do, you disqualify yourself from the help that got you the place to start with.
There is some financial penalty that would happen.
All right.
And so then your benefit lowers. And so there is this game. It's more than just go out and get a job to help supplement your income.
Even though there are jobs everywhere.
Right. So
you could take one to your own detriment. Is that what I'm hearing, because of how the current rules are set up?
Yes, there is some detriment that would happen to it. And so, for every dollar that you would earn, you'd see like 50 cents that's going to come off of that assistance once you get over a certain threshold. Now, if you're making $40,000 annually, then you're not going to ever qualify for the assistance, and you're going to do okay. But so it's got to be, you got to be under $25,000.
That's what the number is.
That's what the number is.
All right. I want everybody who's listening to think through that concept for a moment. Okay. Because it's highly unlikely. Let's go. WSGW audience is generally speaking on the higher end of the economic scale. I'm not talking about 1%ers, but I'm generally doing okay. You're not worried day to day about where you might live next week. That's a generalization. For those of you listening who are not quite at that point, I'm not trying to insult you. I'm just saying, I'm speaking in generalities. That number that Dan just threw out is a low number. $25,000 is not a huge number. That's $2,000 a month, essentially. Right. And in most situations, a job would get you to that point. But what if it only gets you barely over that point and you lose the assistance that helped get you your apartment or your home? So I can see where that would be some math and some computations that people are struggling to make. And like, is it worth it?
Correct. And I think that's part of the reason why, I'm sharing this, is so that way you understand there are well-intentioned people out there who are trying to pull themselves out of poverty, but it's a very complex situation. I mean, I can equate to what it was like as a young married couple, as my wife and I, I had a job, and then I made sure I had to go out and get a second job in order to be able to provide for my family. So we have some hardworking individuals that are coming through the shelter doors, and but sometimes the deck is stacked against them in order to be able to do this. You make one step forward, and then you find yourself with one or two steps coming to back. And so it's that game. And that's part of the reason why what we do, we try to continue in the Impact Designs program that we developed, with helping families and individuals as they move into housing. And
well, let's take a break. We'll come back and talk about Impact Designs, because I'm thinking that for pretty much every one of our listeners, it's a program they would love to be a part of in one way or another. So we'll resume our conversation with Dan Streeter, the CEO of Rescue Ministries of Mid-Michigan. Bill Hobson sitting in for Art Lewis on WSGW.
I have sleep apnea, and I used to struggle with CPAP. Until recently, I hadn't had a good night's sleep since 2005. Do you remember 2005? We used cell phones like actual phones, and everyone wanted life hacks. Here's a life hack for anyone who struggles with CPAP. Get Inspire. It's a sleep apnea treatment that works inside your body to give you comfortable, restful sleep. Learn more at inspiresleep.com.
Inspire is not for everyone. Talk to your doctor to see if it's right for you and review important safety information at inspiresleep.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/trial. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And now you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/trial. That's ZipRecruiter.com/trial. ZipRecruiter.com/trial.
I'm Neil Cavuto, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Stocks opened flat and turned mixed to lower. The consumer price index rose at a slightly weaker pace in the year ending in April, but the decline isn't much. The CPI rose at an 8.3% pace, up 0.3% from March to April. Occidental Petroleum shares are gaining after its earnings rose to $4.7 billion in the recent quarter. It's a record for the company as concerns about global energy supplies lifted prices. Toyota is saying its profit could be down 20% in the current quarter from the recent period, partly because of higher costs. Wendy's is also dealing with higher costs and is lowering its forecast for the year. Shares of donut chain Krispy Kreme are gaining after its recent quarter was stronger than predicted. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Ginny Coselda, invested in you.
Why do I take chalk every day? Because testosterone levels are at an all-time low, and I know the losers who run this country want us weak. They want you weak. They want me weak. They want us all to just be a bunch of effeminate, infertile losers. We can't do that. Start taking a male vitality stack from chalk.com. Go to choq.com, use the code Jesse, and that gets you 30% off. Natural herbal supplements, a patriotic company. choq.com, promo code Jesse.
Annette Glenn was a high school sprinter and state champion. Now Annette Glenn's running for state senate, championing fairness, ensuring girls compete against girls, protecting girls' sports, and girls' privacy in the locker room. Paid for by Annette Glenn for state senate.
Yeah, I'm so stressed. Our business is growing. We've got people all over now.
Ooma.
What is that? Meditation?
I'm recommending Ooma and their all-in-one phone, video, and collaboration solution.
Ooma?
Yep. Switching to Ooma is a cinch. Just $24.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Now you're feeling it. Visit Ooma.com. That's OOMA.com to learn more. Ooma. Smart communications for the smarter business.
Shot. Sliding backhand is stopped by Baez. Outfield grass. Throws. Got him. Javi Baez. Man, oh man, he's been putting on a show for the last week.
The Tigers play 6:50 tonight on 790 News Radio WSGW.
We continue here on the Art Lewis Show. Bill Hobson in for Art Lewis today and tomorrow, and joined in studio by Dan Streeter, the Chief Executive Officer from Rescue Ministries of Mid-Michigan. And during the break, Dan and I basically solved most of the world's problems. So we've got that all figured out. You know, as grandfathers now, we have an extra dose of wisdom. We're supposed to have, at least.
Right. The problem was nobody was listening, and
Yes.
I don't know if I can remember it.
That's all gone. Should have written all of that stuff down. That's where we messed up. We were talking before the break about the different things going on at R3M, Rescue Ministries of Mid-Michigan. And one of them that I really do think is super encouraging, and it's not it's not as commonly found in the world of rescue missions as one might think, and that is this concept of impact designs turning a structure into a home so that the families that earn their way to that point can stay there. So walk us through, if you would, impact designs.
So we became very compelled a couple years ago that as we became aware, as our families were moving, or even individuals are moving into a new apartment or a new rental situation, that they always lacked what they needed. And it was always bare bones, whatever they could pull off. They might be able to find a lamp. They might be able to have one twin bed, but then they didn't have a bed for mom and dad, or they didn't have a dining room table. All these things, there's always gaps. And so they're coming into these substandard situations. And so we started brainstorming about what could we do to flip that. And when we start thinking about these things, we always try to go into other communities and see best practices and try to brainstorm and figure out what's some ways to try to solve this. And so we found out there was a program down in the Pontiac area called Humble Design. So we went down there, investigated, and was just enamored with that program that had been started up. And that's what really showed us what would be that next step to try to do. And so basically now someone completes the programming. They've involved themselves into life skills. They've involved themselves in case management. They're turning things around. They've gotten the lease, and now we come alongside of them. And first of all, we build a 5,000 square foot warehouse to hold all the furnishings and the household items. And then we sit down with a family and we figure out, what do you have? And usually it's very little. They have basically the clothes that they're living with, and that's about it. And so then we sit down and we measure the space, and we find out what they like, what their dislikes are, what kind of color schemes, what's their hopes, things like that. And then our designers, some of it is our staff, some of it's volunteers. It's a blending together. And then we try to figure out and brainstorm what we have in the inventory, what can we do to meet their likes. And then we do this whole move-in for them. And from, everything from a microwave down to the beds, everything. And so now it's helping home happen is what we call it. And then it all culminates with a big reveal, like what you would have seen back on
the Extreme
ABC.
Home Makeover.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you talk about just a great housewarming, welcoming, tears are shed. This is probably the greatest demonstration of love that these individuals have ever experienced. And this is maybe the first time in their lives that they have a place that they can truly call home and that they love to walk through the door of.
Yeah, it was just a week before last, we had a gathering, and I was able to, in front of an audience, interview a young lady, and her daughter was with us as well, who had just received her place, a place to put her own key in her own front door. And it had been furnished by Impact Designs. And I asked her what it was like to do that, to have that moment where you could put your own key in your own front door, and it was just you and your daughter, and it was furnished. And she had the biggest smile, and she had a couple of tears as well. And in fact, we were gathered at a pretty nice place for a little dinner, an appreciation dinner for some of the mission supporters. And she said, "It's so nice. I didn't even want to come here tonight. I just wanted to be at my house."
Yeah.
Well, who can blame her?
Exactly.
So it is a game-changing investment that the ministry made into this idea of making a house into a home. Now, that 5,000 square foot warehouse is populated with donations. So how does that process work for people right now who are getting a new couch, getting a new chair, getting whatever new appliances, whatever it is? What do you want them to know?
So we are the facility is open for donations 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. So you can just pull up. We've got a covered awning at 1021 Burt Street, City Rescue Mission. You pull up there and we'll help unload it. And then usually the last Saturday of every month, we're also open that you could make a donation on the weekend and come on and drop those items off. And we're on our website, Rescue Ministries, r3monline.org. You can go hit the Impact Designs button and you can see a list of the things that we're looking for: the sofa, the recliner, the beds, all those items that we're looking for.
Now, I drove by in my neighborhood day before yesterday, and there were a few different homes that had some furniture sitting out at the road. And as I slowed down just to make sure, just to take a look at it, because I keep thinking about the warehouse. And in that case, the items that I saw, I would not have wanted there. So I want to just kind of reiterate for those of you whose ears just perked up and you thought, we've got some stuff we've been trying to get rid of. We don't want your junk.
Right.
This is going into somebody's home. So you may have a different definition, but for me, it's if you don't want it in your own home, then don't give it to somebody else for their home, because clearly there's something amiss here. But we want to donate loving and gently used items, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, maybe you're in a transition in life. You redecorated, but the stuff that you had before still has great life. Maybe a loved one passed and you're closing an estate. There's a lot of different reasons. Also, maybe you're downscaling. Maybe you had extra furniture and you're wanting to try to downscale. Those are all perfect scenarios to donate. They still have great life. The end goal, though, is that we want to show somebody that we care. Not, a piece of furniture that is still upright and together, but that we actually do care for you.
And there's also a role for those who have a talent with design, right? As a volunteer interior designer, you can help shape somebody's home.
We love to have. I know there's a bunch of ladies out there have been watching all these shows,
HGTV,
Flip and Flop, and whatever you want to
Chip
call
and
them.
Joanna,
exactly, all those. So you think, I love the way that looks, I could do that. Well, we'd love to put that to the test, but we also need just bulk labor. If you're like me, the best thing you can do is just move a sofa.
You don't want me decorating.
There you go. Exactly.
That would be a very, very bad idea, but we can move some of the heavier stuff. So all that information available at r3monline.org. As I mentioned at the very beginning of my conversation with Dan, the dust has been flying inside the building, both in Bay City at Good Samaritan Rescue Mission and in Saginaw at the City Rescue Mission. So we'll get into that here in the moments ahead, including the renovation of a part of the mission that it's long overdue, and it's well underway for sure. We'll pick up that part of the conversation after this as we continue on the Art Lewis Show here on WSGW.
When it comes to cereal disease protection, Prosaro Pro 400 SC fungicide from Bayer makes all the difference. With 3 effective active ingredients for overlapping control of foliar and head diseases, and a flexible application window for head scab, it's formulated to lower DON, protect yield potential, and promote superior grain quality. Prosaro Pro, the future of plant health starts here. Visit prosaropro.com to learn more. Always read and follow grain marketing and all other stewardship practices and pesticide label directions.
Create the backyard of your dreams with Menard's huge selection of landscape block and get 11% off. Whether it's a spacious patio, a decorative walkway, or flawless landscaping, you'll find the perfect block for your project. 16-inch patio blocks are now only $2.99 after 11% rebate. Get 11% off everything right now at Menards. Good through May 14th. Savings are mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Why do I love to work at Alpha Media Saginaw?
Awesome station, fun work environment.
My work family, endless opportunities.
Because it doesn't feel like work.
Hi, I'm Carrie Gustafson, General Sales Manager at Alpha Media Saginaw.
We are expanding our marketing department and looking for the right team player to continue to help local businesses grow through on-air and digital campaigns. We have an amazing staff and 5 awesome local radio stations. So if you want to get up every day loving what you do,
apply now at alphamediausa.com/careers. Alpha Media is an EEO employer.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/trial. That's ZipRecruiter.com/trial.
RocketGrabPlus.com.
Why would you pay full price when you know you can save money at RocketGrabPlus.com? Check out our deals going on right now from Salon Blue, Day Spa and Boutique, 120 Fitness, Uplift Creative Center, Woody's Hot Dogs, Wonder Burger, and King's Fish and more. Half off? Yeah, it's true. And it's all at RocketGrabPlus.com.
RocketGrabPlus.com.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
On the next Markley Van Camp and Robbins show,
high-profile Democrat says the Supreme Court doesn't have the right to weigh in on cases. These people are broken.
Markley, Van Camp, and Robbins. Weekdays at noon on 100.5 and 790. News Radio WSGW. Thank you for being with 100.5 and 790. News Radio WSGW. In the premier kitchen and bath gallery showroom and design center studios.
We are in those very studios right now as we continue on the Art Lewis Show. Bill Hobson in for Art. I just looked out the window, Dan Streeter, and the skies have changed dramatically. I don't know if there's some sort of weather in the forecast, but we are in a good spot here inside as we talk about what's happening at Rescue Ministries of Mid-Michigan. So I teased it before the break. There has been dust in the air in Saginaw for sure. That building where you sit at 1021 Burt has been there a long time. I don't know how long.
1927.
All right. So it's not a new build.
The core part of the building that we originally bought back in 1982.
Yeah.
So that half the facility was built in 1927. The other half we added in 2000.
The kitchen that has been in effect forever dates back to 82?
Correct. Yes. That
with no major updates.
No major structural updates. Equipment we would change periodically as it would age out. But structurally, that's how that area was since 1982.
Well, I'm no mathematician.
Or earlier.
I'm no mathematician, but I think that's like 40 years ago.
Yes.
So everybody listening is well aware there have been a few changes in technology, and that 40-year-old kitchen was being used to maximum impact. It's not like it was used once a week. It's not like your church building where there's not as much traffic. And this kitchen went through its paces. And so it was just a few weeks ago, somebody sent me a handful of photos from a cell phone because the last time I saw the kitchen, there was food being served in it. And the pictures that I got were dirt, wires hanging down. I mean, it looked like somebody had come and just stolen the entire kitchen down to the flooring, literally seeing dirt, because there is a complete replacement taking place as we speak, right?
Correct. And when you consider that we've probably served on average around 80 to 100,000 meals per year over all those years, the millions of meals that have been served, that space has been serving us well. But we needed to go back to the drawing board and like what you were saying, take energy efficiency pieces into it. And we needed to redo the drainage in there. And it was just everything needed to be redone, redesigned. Even the hood, we needed to replace that. So about $600,000 to invest into doing that. And we kicked off the campaign at our anniversary gala back in September, and donors responded tremendously. And so that has allowed us this opportunity to be able to go and even enlarge the space a little bit. And now where we went from 1,200 square feet to 1,500 square feet now, and we'll have a new walk-in cooler and freezer, and we're able to put that on the exterior part of our building to be much more energy efficient. The air handling system, it basically in the past it was it helped one zone, it didn't help the entire space. So new flooring, new drainage, new equipment, and we're hoping if we don't hit any delays between now and the 1st of July, we should be able to open up the new facility totally brand new, and be able to serve people in just an amazing way for many, many years to come.
For volunteers who love to come in and be part of serving meals, preparing, how different of a look are they going to experience when they return?
they're going to be shocked because, not only the way of the layout, more space to be able to do some of that type of work and not feel like you're all, contained into in just a elbow room kind of idea, well laid out to be able to do the workflow. So we're really excited about it. It's going to totally transform how we do service, and hopefully it's going to also encourage volunteers to come in and to want to do more. Whereas maybe it was a little depressing, and it felt like a soup kitchen and a mission that you would have. And so we've always wanted to make sure that our quality of service and our accommodations are at a level so that way they demonstrate care and that we keep them up. And so this was one space that really needed a lot of attention.
Well, it stands to reason then that while you're going through all of this renovation effort, that you're not able to prepare food, and there's literally no kitchen, so you're not preparing food. And one of the questions that I've been asked a couple of times is, well, are they not feeding people while they're doing all this? And thankfully, with another mission about 25 minutes away in Bay City at Good Samaritan, you've been able to figure out the logistics of this.
So our food service staff has been going through all the paces through this entire time and have done an amazing job. So now we're preparing the meals in Bay City and then putting them in warming trays and then driving them to Saginaw. And just before we had done this, we had already renovated the dining room spaces. And so the dining room spaces look great and can still accommodate our guest. But now we've also transformed a separate room to kind of use as a service line space. So they come in, they get their meals, and then they go to their dining rooms and eat. So they will definitely be very happy once this is all done, because then we'll have the service windows that are right there attached to the dining rooms, and it makes it a whole lot easier for them. And so it's also changed a little bit some of the meals that we've served. So, you want things that are going to still be good when they transition through that transfer from the Bay City kitchen.
Yeah.
So you got to factor that in as well.
At any point in the last 2 years of the mess we've all been living in, did you ever shut the doors?
Not a single day.
Because every door was shut in some capacity. I mean, whether here at the radio station, people weren't coming in, restaurant, everything was closed. The schools, some church, the rescue mission never closed.
Yeah, so maybe this is one of my pet peeves through the time of the pandemic is that shelter workers, emergency shelter workers, did not get the recognition that they should have.
First responders.
First responders deserve that recognition, and medical professionals who worked all through the pandemic deserve that. But shelter workers were there putting their lives just as much at risk.
Yeah.
Maybe sometimes more, because we didn't have the detection equipment like medical professionals, and we didn't have the protection equipment. Now, granted, we didn't have to experience the virus as much as what they did.
But you had your moments where it was sweeping through the missions and your staff continued to serve.
Right. We had 3 major outbreaks through the time of the 2 years of the pandemic. And so where many people were in isolation because we had 30 to 40 people that had tested positive, and we're still having to serve them. We were preparing meals, taking meals to them, and making sure that they're still doing well and that we didn't need to transfer them for more medical care. So our staff, all through the pandemic, never got the recognition that they should have publicly.
And it's so amazing because that's not why they do it. But
Exactly.
you're absolutely right, because they served people in need at a time when everything else was saying, stay home,
right,
lock your doors, stay in.
They never expected the recognition. They didn't want the recognition. It's me seeing how hard they've worked through this time, and seeing others that have received that.
This region has no idea how much more disastrous COVID could have been had all of the people staying at the mission been turned away and just out on the streets in the middle of a time when they couldn't go anywhere to eat or sleep. I mean, I can't even wrap my head around what that would have looked like.
I want to make sure that it's not just the rescue mission, that it's every shelter.
Yeah.
Every shelter that in this region and in this state served under those kind of circumstances. Every shelter worker thousands of shelter workers across the state.
Yeah, for sure. We'll take one more break, come back and wrap things up with Dan Streeter from Rescue Ministries of Mid-Michigan after this.
Business trip coming up soon? Finally, taking that much-needed vacation. MBS International Airport is your premier airport for personal and business travel. With services through Delta and United Airlines, you will feel upgraded as soon as you walk through the door. Book your flight today at mbsairport.org and let us help you see the world.
If you owe the IRS back taxes, then get ready to pay up. The IRS has giant private collection agencies actively tracking down folks who owe the IRS. So if you think dodging them was stressful in the past, it's going to get a whole lot tougher. Optima Tax Relief has this advice. Don't wait. Solve your tax problems now before it's too late. Optima Tax Relief works to stop the demand letters, stop the aggressive collection actions, and stop the IRS collectors from targeting you. Ask Optima about the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands, and nobody knows this program better than they do. Optima is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, and they get results, having resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Get a fresh start. Call today for your free consultation.
Call 800-364-9188. 800-364-9188. 800-364-9188.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
The WSGW Morning Team Show.
The WSW online poll, the U.S. government operating a disinformation governance board. Department of Homeland Security announced the formation of this board. It's described this way: to protect national security by combating foreign misinformation and disinformation. Some critics are saying that no government agency should be involved in any determination of what constitutes disinformation. Officials say it's not going to monitor American citizens and would work diligently to protect privacy. So the poll question is, should the U.S. government operate a disinformation governance board? You could say yes, absolutely necessary under any circumstances. You could say yes, but only if it guarantees to target foreign sources. You could say no, because you have concerns that American interests could be investigated. Or you could say no, period. Under no circumstances should government have a misinformation. Or you could say I'm not sure. I want you to head to WSW.com, scroll down the homepage, find that poll box, and make your vote that way, please.
The Morning Team, weekdays 5:30 to 9 on WSGW.
We have just a couple moments left as we're talking with Dan Streeter, the Chief Executive Officer from Rescue Ministries of Mid-Michigan. So, Dan, we've covered the kind of the basics of what's happening. We haven't touched much on the youth shelter in Bay City, but man, the hour flies by. You and I just talk too much, apparently, or don't talk enough on the air, so we have to get it all out. So, last question for you today is how do you want people in this community to help? Because I know that confidence is returning for things like volunteering.
Correct.
And that was a real need here for the last couple of years. So where are we with all that, and what needs do you have?
Volunteerism still has lagged tremendously compared to what it used to be, and that was one of our strengths. And so we'd love for people to consider about getting re-engaged. And the biggest thing I'd encourage is go to our website or go to our Facebook page. Go to r3monline.org. You can see some of the stories. You can see volunteer opportunities, the events. You can see how lives have been impacted, videos. And then also go to our Facebook page of Rescue Ministries of Mid-Michigan, and you can see pictures of the impact designs, and you can see how others have been donating and giving, and just so many positive stories that happen through there. So go to one of those media sources and just you're going to have questions that will come up, and then call us or email us. And we would love to engage, have you come to the facility, talk to you about what your interests are, and see what we can do to try to help get you involved. So many ways. And then the youth shelter has just been a tremendous blessing. And it's just blown open our minds as to what more we need to be doing. And we've already got something in the works to launch to help kids with permanent housing, kids that age out of foster care. And we're literally days away from being able to start work on an apartment complex, 10 units, called Labadee Lofts in Bay City. And so hopefully sometime next week, the demolition will actually start on that. And it'll take us about 4 months to finish that project. And so sometime this fall, we're going to be able to help kids that are aging out of foster care in a phenomenal way with permanent housing and also the life skills that go along with that.
Well, we know the need constantly exists, but the ability to keep kind of adding and shaping and molding your ministry to help meet the needs that come about is not easy to do. So when I said about 40 minutes ago that there's dust in the air, I'm not kidding. There's literally something going on. It seems like at all times. At some point, you got to catch your breath and just kind of sit back and go, all right, no projects for a little while, please. Just no more projects.
There is a piece of that to make sure that we're careful in the endeavors that we move into. But I also think that the need is great in this region. And that's one of the things that's so exciting. Donors have entrusted with us funds to be able to make a difference, and in giving us the ability to be able to brainstorm and take a look at where gaps are and where the greatest need is, and then allow us to be able to help go and meet that need. And so to me, that's one of the most rewarding aspects of my job, is to be able to continue to every day, every week, brainstorm with community leaders, brainstorm with other service providers, brainstorm with our staff. What else should we be doing? What else can we do? And to continue to try to help those that are hurting and our neighbors in need, and to make an impact in their lives.
Yeah, so many good stories to share. And the stories that we most enjoy sharing are not facility related. We enjoy bringing you up to date on those, but the real cool stories are the changed lives. That's what we want to celebrate. That's why all of this happens. Families coming back together.
It definitely is. And, every once in a while I'll go back to YouTube and see some of the old videos that we've put together. In fact, I think I sent a link to you of one you did about 10 years ago that was quite humorous.
I had some more hair in that video. I remember seeing that. Yes.
But it's new faces all the time coming through the door that need help.
Yeah.
And there isn't a shortage of people who need help.
R3M, Rescue Ministries of Mid-Michigan, r3monline.org for all the information. And if you have a few extra hours in your life, maybe each week, I can think of a pretty good place for you to volunteer and spend those hours doing something that matches with your skill set. They certainly have needs in many different areas. So thanks for coming in. Good to see you.
Thanks so much.
We'll take a final break here and wrap things up in this 11 o'clock hour of the Art Lewis Show.
Wool Files in Saginaw is looking for an experienced parts counter person. You must be prompt, dependable, and knowledgeable in lawn and garden equipment. Qualified candidates can make good wages and receive an excellent benefit package at a clean, well-respected local business. For an opportunity to fill this rewarding position at one of the area's oldest, highly respected repair shops, bring a resume and apply in person to Dave at 5818 State Street, Saginaw, between the hours of 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. This is a full-time position and starts now. Wool Files, Ace Hardware, 5818 State Street, Saginaw. Wool Files is an equal opportunity employer.
Let me tell you about the Lumberjack Restaurant in West Branch. It's that time of year for y'all grizzly bears to come out of hibernating and get some good grub in those bellies. Well, lucky for you, we've spiced up the menu a bit with a couple of new items. From dangerously tasty spin dip to fries piled high with homemade chili and cheese. You might say we've taken comfort food to the next level. Again, now get your axe up to the Lumberjack Restaurant of West Branch. Exit 212, I-75, where hunger goes to die.
Straight Talk Wireless now has the new iPhone 13 with cinematic mode, which lets you focus on what matters. And with Straight Talk, you can focus on getting the best deal. Our Silver Unlimited plan is just $45 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data. And it runs on the largest, most dependable networks, now with nationwide 5G. With the iPhone 13 on Straight Talk, you can share whatever you want, wherever you want. Straight Talk Wireless. 5G capable device required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
RocketGrabPlus.com.
This week's deal on RocketGrabPlus.com is for the Frankenmuth Aerial Park. You are going to get a 2-hour session at the Frankenmuth Aerial Park for only $21. It's usually $42, but you are getting it half off. This includes a 2-hour weekday or weekend session. And it doesn't matter if you're a beginner or a pro. There is a course level that's going to fit you. Head to RocketGrabPlus.com right now to snag your deal.
RocketGrabPlus.com.
We are winding down our time on the Art Lewis Show. Focus comes your way next at 11:10. We're going to talk about something called the Midland Miracle Field. So I certainly hope you'll stick around for that part of the conversation. And by the way, it is just kind of fun to be back in the chair with all of you filling in for Art. I'll be here again tomorrow. My name is Bill Hobson, in case we haven't met before. And if you are at all interested in the world of golf, you can check out my program called Michigan Golf Live. It's both in radio form right here on WSGW every Saturday at noon, or you can check out our television version on Bally Sports Detroit every Saturday and Sunday morning at 9:30. So if you're a golfer or a fan of golf, or just like to celebrate great destinations all around the country, that's what we do. We feature great places to stay and play. And by the way, as we earlier talked with Charlie Rood about the Detroit Tigers, a reminder that the next game comes your way tonight at 6:50 as the Tigers take on the A's. Try to put a few more runs on the board and start fulfilling the promise that we thought they had coming out of spring training. So we continue to root for our baseball team and hope that they can pull their act together, I guess is the best way to put it. We'll take a break here for the news, both on a national and local level in the WSGW newsroom, and then I'll be back on the other side of that with Focus here on WSGW.
From the Premier Kitchen and Bath Gallery Studios, WSGW, Saginaw, Bay City, Midland, WSGW FM, Carlton.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Steve Kathan. The government says inflation slowed a bit last month, but as CBS's Sarah Ewald-Weiss reports, prices keep inching higher.
Inflation soared 8.3% last month from a year ago, down from the annual high in March, but costs are still on the rise. Food prices are up 9.4% from this time last year, and the price of gas is up more than 43% from this time last year.
I'm Jim Krasul in Summerfield, North Carolina. While the federal government says inflation eased slightly last month, John Thomas questions why things are so expensive, especially gasoline.
It's very concerning, especially whenever you don't feel like there's a reason for it to be as high as it is.
Like many others, Thomas is rethinking summer travel plans because of rising prices.
The CDC reports more than 107,000 Americans died last year due to drug overdoses. That's a record. It amounts to one death every 5 minutes. Amy Puerto lost his 16-year-old son to drugs.
I saw my son lying with his arms across his chest. He was ashen gray and he had a blue tint on top of his lip. And I just started screaming from the top of my lungs, Daniel, Daniel, Daniel.
Well, now to North Carolina, where a Charlotte high school bus got into an accident with a dump truck and another vehicle this morning. EMS Chief Kenny Phillips says 15 children were sent to a hospital.
We were able to access the kids very quickly and get them separated and start assessing their injuries. But the driver of the school bus and the driver of the white dump truck behind us were pinned in the vehicle.
In Washington, CBS's Nicole Killian says Democrats are pushing ahead with a Senate vote that would codify abortion rights into federal law.
Many Democrats have been saying that the vote matters, even if it ultimately fails and they don't have the 60 votes to pass it. Important to at least allow senators to show where they stand on this issue, that this is a moment in history.
Overseas, a journalist was shot and killed while covering a West Bank raid. The Palestinians blame Israeli forces. Israel's military leader says it's not clear who's responsible. CBS's Imtiaz Tayyab knew the victim, 51-year-old Shireen Abu Akleh.
Shireen was both Palestinian and American. We used to work together in Jerusalem, and she was a kind and generous colleague. She was a pioneer, a household name across the Arab world. Shireen started her career in the 90s when there were few Arab women reporting on the issues that affected their communities.
Checking Wall Street right now, the Dow is up 225 points. This is CBS News.
There's always something new under the sun. CBS Mornings, weekdays on CBS.
While while you're comfortable inside your home or business. The weather takes a toll on your roof. Wind, rain, hail, UV rays, and the heat of the sun cause premature failure of your shingles. Everyone loves to save money. If you have an aging roof, don't spend a lot of money on replacement. Get a Roof Max shingle treatment and get some peace of mind. Get more life for less money, guaranteed with Roof Max, a powerful fusion of science and nature. Call Ben today at 859-6751.
RocketGrabPlus.com.
Why would you pay full price when you know you can save money at RocketGrabPlus.com? Check out our deals going on right now from Salon Blue, Day Spa and Boutique, 120 Fitness, Uplift Creative Center, Woody's Hot Dogs, Wonder Burger, and King's Fish and more. Half off? Yeah, it's true. And it's all at RocketGrabPlus.com.
RocketGrabPlus.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/trial. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And now you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/trial. That's ZipRecruiter.com/trial. ZipRecruiter.com/trial.
Live from the 100.5 and 790 newsroom, this is WSGW News.
Cloudy skies and 74 degrees at 11:05. Good morning, I'm Mike Perchup. A Burt woman pleaded guilty on Monday in Saginaw County to charges of concealing the death of an individual. 47-year-old Laura Schempf admitted to dumping the body of 54-year-old Nadja Hartman of Bay City into Patty Creek at Beakey and West Fry Roads in Albee Township around February 1st, 2019. An autopsy revealed Hartman had died of a drug overdose. Schempf told police a man paid her $1,000 to dispose of the body. Passersby discovered the body March 25th, 2019. Schempf will need to participate in the Saginaw County Drug Treatment Court. Her formal sentencing takes place June 22nd. Governor Gretchen Whitmer joined U.S. Secretary of Commerce Gina Raimondo Tuesday to announce that the Economic Development Administration is awarding a $1.4 million grant to CMU for renovations to the CMU Research Corporation Incubator and Accelerator. The investment will support local entrepreneurs through office renovation and upgrades to provide a safer working environment following the coronavirus pandemic. The EDA investment will be matched with $352,000 in local funds and is expected to create 100 jobs, retain 30 jobs, and generate $5 million in private investment. On July 26th, the Saginaw Police Department will host a front porch roll call at the Great Lakes Bay Can Council at 1311 North Michigan Avenue, starting at 6 p.m. The event is a chance for Saginaw residents to meet with, learn from, and interact with police officers who patrol the neighborhoods of the city. Police will share details of crimes, which builds a team approach to crime solving, while residents can get a look at the challenges police face during their patrols. Everyone is invited to attend the free event to voice concerns and ask questions. WSGW News Time, 11:07.
Looking to hit the beach in style this summer? Associates in Eye Care would like to invite you to check out their annual Sunwear Trunk Show Thursday, May 12th from 1 until 6:30 p.m. at their Saginaw location. They will have 25% off all feature frames and 20% off all prescription. New sunglasses to pick from directly from the vendors, including Ray-Ban, Vera Bradley, Life is Good, and Trina Turk. Plus refreshments, hot deals, and lots of fun. It's all happening at Associates in Eye Care on Center Road in Saginaw for their Sunwear Trunk Show Thursday, May 12th from 1 until 6:30 p.m.
We're proud to make Pioneer Sugar for you and your family. Proud to be found in your kitchen, the heart of your home. And it doesn't really matter what you make with Pioneer Sugar, whether it's with our granulated white, light brown, or soft confectioners. It's the memories you'll make using it that will matter the most. Pioneer Sugar, pure and all natural, made from sugar beets grown right here. What could be sweeter than that?
WSGW News Time, 11:08. The weather forecast is coming up next. The Michigan legislature has voted to put before voters a constitutional amendment to revise the state's legislative term limits law and require state elected officials to disclose their personal financial information. A constitutional provision approved by voters in 1992 allows legislators to serve no more than 14 years, including 3 two-year House terms and 2 four-year Senate terms. The amendment passed Tuesday, which would let legislators serve up to 12 years entirely in one chamber. The initiative also would require lawmakers, the governor, lieutenant governor, secretary of state, and attorney general to file annual financial disclosure reports starting in 2024. A Farmington Hills man has been sentenced to more than 6 years in prison for a scheme in which he bribed mail carriers to steal credit cards from customers along their routes. Here's Michigan News Network's Sandra McNeil.
U.S. Attorney Don Eisen says that Andre Taylor Jr. would often use the credit cards he stole to buy gift cards from retailers in bulk. Taylor's scheme started in October 2019. By March 2020, he also began to steal COVID-related unemployment benefits in Michigan and Pennsylvania to the tune of about $750,000. He would have the money sent in preloaded credit cards to addresses along the postal workers' routes, then have the mail carrier steal them. Eisen says Taylor, quote, took money from wherever it was available, and he did not care whom he harmed along the way. In addition to the 6 years behind bars, Taylor also has to pay back $750,000 in restitution. Sandra McNeil for the Michigan News Network.
When you see news happening, call the WSGW newsroom at 752-0790. It's 11:10. I'm Mike Percha.
Here's your WSGW weatherology forecast. Partial sunshine develops here for today with a high into the mid-80s. Winds out of the southeast around 5 to 10 miles per hour. And then for tonight, partly cloudy skies develop, a low near 58. By Thursday, mostly sunny skies, high of 85 degrees. Then by Friday, sunshine, a high of 84. Saturday, we'll have a chance for some showers and thunderstorms. Partial sunshine develops, a high of 83. Then on Sunday, a chance for rain showers here late, partly sunny, a high of 75. Monday, mostly sunny, high of 71 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki with the WSGW weatherology forecast. Currently, it's 74.
Now, it's time to focus as WSGW presents the people, the places, the businesses, the culture, the area events and activities, all put into focus on 100.5 and 790 News Radio WSGW and online WSGW.com.
Well, we are glad to have you along with us for today's Focus. Bill Hobson here, sitting in for Art Lewis, and we're bringing to you today the concept of the miracle field. Before we even get into what that means, I love the name of it. It just sounds fun. It sounds like something I want to be engaged with, and so we will together learn all about it as we're joined by Marcy Post, the Assistant Director of Public Services in Midland, as the city's recreation manager. Brought Marcy on board back in 2008. And Marcy, good morning. Welcome to the Focus program. How are you?
Good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
I'm doing well. And this is kind of a fun concept to explore, the miracle field. So before we get into that, let me get a little bit of your background. You've been a part of the Midland Parks and Rec world for a decade or so, correct?
Yeah, yes, absolutely. And it feels like it too some days.
I bet you some days it feels like a century and some days it feels like it flew by.
It's so true. But I got to tell you, I love what I do. If I've done nothing else in my life, I know that Municipal Parks and Rec is where I'm meant to be.
I love that. Well, there are so many things happening in Midland. Every time I drive through, you look at the soccer complex, you look over at the different sports opportunities, and they are active. It seems like every time I go by, and it's year round these days. There's never a downtime, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I actually have a child that plays travel sports, and so we're looking for places to play indoors right now because, in the wintertime, because there's just not enough space for all of us to be indoors and still do what those kids do in the wintertime.
I'm glad kids are active. That's a good thing. We were over in Kalamazoo yesterday for my nephew's Little League game, and in this complex where there were, 8 or 10 fields, every one of them was active. Every one of them was packed, and I thought, for all the times that we wonder if kids ever get out and play anymore, it's so good to see a vivid reminder that they do and that they're into it, that life isn't just video games.
Absolutely.
So from there, we look into this concept of the Midland Miracle Field. What is it?
So a Miracle Field, it's actually a national organization that was started in Georgia. So a Miracle Field is it's a concept where it's a baseball diamond for kids and actually adults too who have a disability. So in a traditional baseball game, if you have a wheelchair, it's going to be very difficult for you to navigate, let's say, a traditional baseball diamond. You've got ruts of grass and you've got dirt base paths that may not be wide enough or too wide. And it becomes a safety concern at that point. And so a Miracle Field does two things. First of all, it provides a safe space for kids who have a disability, whether it's cognitive or physical, to play baseball, which is phenomenal. The second piece of that is that in a Miracle Field game, every player gets a buddy. So a buddy is somebody that if this athlete if they can't hold a bat, because let's say that they have muscular dystrophy, this buddy will help them hold the bat. If they need help being pushed around the bases, a buddy will help them do that. When they're fielding, a buddy, if we've got somebody who can't get to the ball as fast as maybe they want to, a buddy might help field the ball and keep those players safe. So it's in this first season, everything is completely recreational. So in a Miracle Field game, everybody hits, everybody rounds the bases, and everybody scores every time. So at the end of the game, it's tied. Okay.
And it's a time of encouragement, positivity, and everybody is feeling successful.
Absolutely. And it's a spectacle in the sense that, I'll have a DJ and I have actually Jerry O'Donnell from the Loons, the announcer at the Loons is going to come in and do all the announcing. So we're going to make these kids feel like they are a Major League Baseball star every Saturday from now until June 25th.
So as we talk about this concept, one of the things I want to explore with Marcy on this edition of Focus is where this project is in its completion, because I know you're working towards a big grand opening day, and we'll talk about the need for a Miracle Field and a bit more. So if you don't mind, Marcy, hang on. We'll continue our conversation in just a moment here on WSGW.
Are you ready for retirement? Well, Jason and Carl Kreiderman with Great Lakes Investment Advisors have a new book that can help make retiring easier. In Empower Your Retirement, they talk about how a well thought out financial plan can make the difference between just surviving (989-848-1188). And for more on retirement planning, tune into Jason and Carl's radio show, Your Financial Empower Hour, every Sunday morning at 8. Firm provides insurance services, investment advisory services offered by Great Lakes Investment Advisors, Inc., a registered investment advisor firm in the state of Michigan. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
Your local radio stations are here for you. No subscriptions or monthly fees necessary. We're here to give you the news, weather and traffic you need, and the music you love. But if the foreign-owned record labels get their way, it could stop the music. They want Congress to force radio stations to pay them more money, simply to play their music. Don't let radio go silent. Text LOCAL to 52886 and tell Congress to protect local radio stations. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
No one can bake gluten-free vegan goodies better than Surrey.
Wait, both Jim and Marion's last days are the same day?
But he needs to whip up a new shift lead without interviews burning his time.
Gotta get interviewing before my calendar is cooked.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from the Indeed dashboard, so you can stay organized and connected all the way to the hire. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
WSGW is your station for the Tigers. Baez.
Ground ball up the middle and a diving back into the 10 by Baez. Flips to Candelario behind his back for the force at second. Between a line shot through the box. Sliding backhanded stop by Baez. Throws. Got him. Javi Baez is putting on a show.
Tigers baseball brought to you in part by
Premier Kitchen and Bath Gallery in Midland.
Lingle Equipment Company.
And Ed Raymonds of Chesaning.
Your home for Detroit Tigers baseball is WSGW. You are with WSGW in the Premier Kitchen and Bath Gallery showroom and Design Center studios.
We're glad to have you with us here on the Focus Show on WSGW. Bill Hobson sitting in for Art Lewis on what has become a cloudy Wednesday. It was bright and sunny earlier, but you never know. It's Michigan, right? So we'll continue our conversation with Marcy Post, the Assistant Director of Public Services in Midland. We're talking about the concept of a miracle field. And the description, Marcy, that you gave just sounds so fun. I cannot wait to start seeing video clips that come out of those games with the young people who thought perhaps they would never have an opportunity to take part in any form of baseball, and they're finally able to do that. So where are we in the process as we build towards the grand opening day on May 14th? Is the field all done?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So we're just kind of spit shining things as we speak. So moving in, kind of unloading T-shirts and jerseys, and we have a practice tonight. We had a practice last weekend, and then Saturday is opening day for us.
Okay, so this kind of thing doesn't just happen overnight. How long has the project been in the works?
We started in 2018 doing site visits, so we are number 8 in the state. There are miracle fields all over Michigan. We are the northernmost miracle field, and so we are pulling in some athletes from up north, Harrison, Clare County area, so we're kind of learning from what everybody else has done, which has been a really beautiful experience. So we started in 2018, and we started construction in the fall of 2020. So it has been a labor of love for a very long time.
Are you in need of anybody, of volunteers, of people to help be sort of coaches or assistants? What community needs do you have?
Absolutely. So we've got coaches so we're going to play a spring season every year in April, May, and then we'll play a fall season in September, August, September-ish. So we've got the coaches covered for this season. So in the future, we need of course coaches, but the buddies are what we really need. And so everything is being done by the United Way of Midland County. They're helping us register all of these buddies. So each each Saturday, I'm looking for about 25 to 30 volunteers, and it's not a terribly long commitment. It's a few hours at most. But again, those buddies are going to help our athletes. They may not need to help them at all. They might just be there to be moral support and just cheer them on, standing right next to them. So you absolutely need buddies, and then go to the United Way of Midland County's website to register. I think the first 2 or maybe 3 game days are full, but we're still looking for buddies to round out the rest of the season.
And to be a buddy, you don't need any particular skill set. You don't have to come with a knowledge of how to work with the disabled. You don't have to, you don't have to play baseball, right? You just need to be present.
You just need to know how to smile and want to make a new friend, and you just have to be 12 years old. That's like the one hard and fast rule that I've got.
I have a feeling that you will, as word continues to spread, you will have buddies coming out of the woodwork, because this is going to be one of those situations where the buddy gets as much, if not more, out of it than the athletes do themselves.
You're exactly right. And not only buddies, but also athletes, because a lot of parents don't realize that if their child doesn't have use of their arms or legs, they think that they can't participate. But we've got folks on our field with a variety of disabilities, and it doesn't matter what it is, because these kids know that they're out playing baseball for the first time. They've had the opportunity to play, or perhaps they played when they were younger, but as they got older, they couldn't compete with the boys and the girls of their age group, and so it just didn't become safe for them anymore. So now they're able to get back onto that field. So my goal was 40 athletes, and we're at 55 right now.
Nice.
And I'm not turning anybody away.
Right.
So we might have a jersey, a few days late, but the kids keep coming, and I couldn't be more thrilled.
Okay, so this is the personal question part. You've been working on this since 2018.
Mm-hmm.
At some point on Saturday, on May 14th, when you have the ribbon cutting or whatever the moment is, when you christen the Miracle Field, what will it mean to you, Marcy?
Well, this one cuts pretty personal. I will tell you. So in 2018, I actually I had a son named Julian who was born with Down syndrome, and birthday diagnosis, we had no idea. But at that moment, my life changed, and I thought, okay, this is the trajectory we're going. And a friend of mine actually showed me a video of the Miracle League of Cincinnati, and I thought to myself, oh my goodness, like, we're going to have to build this field for Julian, selfishly so. So super exciting to kind of think about, like, this is where my my background in recreation kind of hits the rubber to the road, and business mixes with personal. So Julian ended up passing away. He had some secondary conditions that just wouldn't allow him to survive. But when I came home, my boss looked at me and she said, "Are you ready?" And I said, "Ready for what?" And she said, "We're going to build a Miracle Field." And so it became, at that point, a beautiful, I don't want to say grief project, but a beautiful space for my oldest child to see, look what we're doing for Julian, but not only for Julian, because this is for so many kids who've never had this opportunity. And until you're a parent with a child with a disability, you don't realize how far and few between these experiences are, and how important they are to not only the athlete themselves, but the parents. When I went and saw my counterpart in Southfield, he said, the most important thing you're going to see on game day is mom and dad sitting in the stands, eating popcorn, watching their kid play baseball. And that hit home for me, pun intended. So it's going to be beautiful. My whole family's coming, and I've got a support system throughout the state, from, recreation professionals from here to Flat Rock. So it will be very personal. I promised I'm not going to cry.
I don't know.
Everybody.
I don't know how you couldn't.
I did cross my fingers when I said that, but I'm very excited for so many reasons, and I've made so many friends, and I've learned every day I'm learning. These kids are teaching me. I didn't know what it was like to have a kid with Down syndrome, and so there was so much for me to learn in such a short time. So I've made some really great connections and met some really good friends that just every day I'm reminded of, like, how lucky I am to be able to work with this population, but to be able to provide this not only for the kids but for those adults.
Well, here's hoping that Saturday is a gorgeous day, and that there's a huge turnout, and that there will be a celebration that matches your enthusiasm for the project, and that the hurting mom heart will have a special infusion of grace and joy in memory of Julian when you see the joy on the faces of those kids. I'm so excited for that personal connection for you guys to make and to celebrate on Saturday. So thank you for bringing us inside the world of the Miracle Field.
Well, I appreciate your interest, and we're really excited.
All right. Oh, Marcy, last question. Anybody who's listening who wants to come see all this, where are they going?
They're going to go to Central Park in Midland. So the address is 225 East Collins Street. We're tucked in right between the Midland Community Center and the Nicholson Gunther Band Shell that's right there on Rod Street and Nelson.
Very good. I hope you have a great day Saturday. Thank you for joining us.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Your home is your safe haven, and energy-efficient window treatments can make it feel even more comfortable throughout the year. Hi, this is Mary Ann from Warden Interiors in Frankenmuth. Now through June 20th, you can save big with generous rebates on energy-efficient shades that help keep your home cool in the summer and warm during the winter. Don't wait to shop the Hunter Douglas Energy Smart Style Savings event going on now. Warden Interiors celebrating 60 years in business. We'll help you bring it all together.
Why do I love to work at Alpha Media Saginaw?
Awesome station, fun work environment.
My work family, endless opportunities, because it doesn't feel like work. Hi, I'm Carrie Gustafson, General Sales Manager at Alpha Media Saginaw. We are expanding our marketing department and looking for the right team player to continue to help local businesses grow through on-air and digital campaigns. We have an amazing staff and 5 awesome local radio stations. So if you want to get up every day loving what you do,
apply now at alphamediausa.com/careers. Alpha Media is an EEO employer.
Moments like watching my grandson steal second mean a lot to me. But after being diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer, or MBC, which is breast cancer that is spread to other parts of the body, they mean even more. I take Ibrance, palbociclib.
Ibrance 125 milligram tablets with an aromatase inhibitor is for postmenopausal women or for men with HR-positive, HER2-negative NBC as the first hormonal-based therapy. Ask your doctor about Ibrance and visit Ibrance.com. Ibrance may cause low white blood cell counts that may lead to serious infections. Ibrance may cause severe inflammation of the lungs. Both of these can lead to death. Tell your doctor right away if you have new or worsening symptoms, including trouble breathing, shortness of breath, cough, or chest pain. Before taking Ibrance, tell your doctor if you have fever, chills, or other signs of infection, liver or kidney problems, are or plan to become pregnant, or are breastfeeding. Common side effects include low red blood cell and low platelet counts, infections, tiredness, nausea, sore mouth, abnormalities in liver blood tests, diarrhea, hair thinning or loss, vomiting, rash, and loss of appetite.
On the next Markley Van Camp and Robbins show,
high-profile Democrat says the Supreme Court doesn't have the right to weigh in on cases. These people are broken.
Markley, Van Camp, and Robbins. Weekdays at noon on 100.5 and 790. News Radio WSGW.
Bill Hobson in for Art Lewis, and as we wind down my time here this morning and make way for Terry Henney shortly, we get our market update with Steve Anderson from Baird & Company. Steve, good morning. How are you?
Happy Wednesday to you. I almost said happy Friday, but sorry.
Not yet. Nice wishful thinking.
Yeah, you guess sometimes. Looking a little better today than it has over the past few, I guess, because right now we've got the Dow Jones Industrial Average. It's ahead by 270 points, putting it at 32,431. Volume is roughly 400 million shares. The NASDAQ is down 26 at 17,711. Volume there is 468 million shares.
And these are volatile days. So what advice do you have for folks who are maybe on that daily pattern of monitoring their investments and maybe entering some panic mode?
Well, monitoring them daily is actually quite a sure prescription to be able to enter that panic mode quite easily. Over time, when you take a look at how the market behaves, if you've ever seen anybody like throwing a yo-yo and you concentrate on the yo-yo goes shooting toward the ground and then comes back up and shoots toward the ground and comes back up. Now, if you take that same person and have them walking up the stairs, they're still going up and down like that. However, overall, the yo-yo is getting higher over time. That's pretty much the way that the market works. So my tip to people is don't necessarily watch the day-to-day too closely. Get yourself a plan that will fit the time horizon that you actually need, and then concentrate more on the person in the stairs, not the yo-yo.
Sound advice for sure. And Steve, for anybody wanting more information, where do you send them?
Well, you can call us right here at Baird & Company in Saginaw. The number is 989-790-5724. Our Midland location is 989-839-9035, or we're available on the web at RW Baird, and that's BAIRD.com. And then you can find the branch in there.
Sounds good. Thanks so much for the update. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you. Appreciate talking to you. Bye-bye.
All right. I'm going to head on out of here, make way for Terry Henney coming up next, and then I'll return tomorrow morning at 9 to fill in for Art Lewis. Have a great day.
Silly, careless human. You unleashed my power. Just try and stop me. I dare you.
Debris burning is the leading